kita ada wifi. Oh, sini. This educational video will help patients and care. This educational video will help patients and caregivers understand and manage eczema. The main goal of eczema care is to maintain healthy skin. Just as you brush your teeth twice a day to maintain good oral health, you also need to take care of your skin every day, to keep your eczema under control, and to maintain your skin barrier. What is eczema?
Eczema is a chronic inflammatory skin condition characterized by dry plaques that are red and severely itchy. The symptoms can be mild, where the skin looks dry and scaly, or they can be more severe, where the skin becomes red, raised and raw, with oozing, crusting, and scaling. And although there is no cure for this skin condition, it can be managed by being consistent and diligent in your daily skin care. Eczema can occur anywhere on the body and is usually found on the flexors, on the back of the arms, back of the knees. There are many types of eczema, but the most common one is atopic dermatitis. Atopic refers to the hereditary tendency towards eczema. Asthma and allergies. People with eczema may also suffer from one of these other atopic diseases.
What causes eczema?
The exact cause of eczema is unknown. However, research has shown that there are genetic, immunological, and environmental factors that play a role. Eczema can come and go, and can move around the body, just as one plaque clears up, another one may develop. This is the chronic nature of the disease. The skin is made up of two main layers, the outer layer called the epidermis, and the inner layer called the dermis. The epidermis is the skin's barrier. Our skin is the barrier to the outside world. It is somewhat waterproof and keeps our internal organs and systems safe from elements and from bacteria that may try to invade our bodies. Healthy skin is like bricks and mortar. The skin oils which act like mortar hold together the skin cells which are like the bricks, creating a nice strong barrier. Atopic dermatitis patients will have an impaired barrier. That means that their skin barrier is broken down, letting the natural moisture out, allowing irritants and allergens in. This causes their skin to become dry and cracked, and when this happens, it is known as an eczema flare-up.
For people with eczema, their oil or mortar is broken down, causing cracks and damage in their skin barrier. Therefore, the goal of eczema management is to get moisture back into the skin and to create a barrier to protect the skin.
Overheating, excessive sweating, low humidity, certain foods, anxiety, and stress can also contribute to this. eczema. When the skin becomes irritated and one of these triggers itches, causing the sufferers to scratch the affected area. Scratching makes the condition worse, and the skin becomes inflamed and red, further aggravating the itch. This is called the so-called itch-scratch cycle, and it can become so severe, causing tremendous pain. One thing I'd like to emphasize to both adult patients and the parents of children with eczema is that it is most often a chronic condition. There is no magic bullet, no cure. However, you can effectively manage this condition, but it takes daily diligence and continued efforts.
Treating inflammation.
Inflammation within the skin is the cause of eczema flares. Prescription treatments target that inflammation to help to treat the skin. There are four main groups of prescription products. Topical corticosteroids such as hydrocortisone or betamethasone valerian. Topical immunomodulators such as Allergen or Atopic. Antibiotics such as Houston and Houston H or oral antibiotics. And also barrier repair lotions such as Episerum.
Topical corticosteroids.
Topical corticosteroids are prescribed to reduce inflammation and itching, with strengths ranging from mild to very strong. Often eczema sufferers or their caregivers do not use this treatment properly. They either use it too sparingly or not frequently enough because they are afraid of the potential side effects. Although by following a physician's specific directions and advice, topical corticosteroids are safe treatment options. Typically, you would apply this treatment after a bath to towel-dry skin and only to the plaques of eczema, and you would apply your regular moisture to the rest of the skin, and then to the eczema plaques at another time throughout the day. Remember to ask your doctor questions if you're unsure about how to use this treatment, or you have any concerns about using it.
Topical immunomodulators.
Topical immunomodulators such as Allergy are very helpful in managing a patient's inflammation and itching and will extend the length of time between flares. These products should be applied to skin that is dry and only to the areas affected by eczema. The actual side effect is a mild to moderate burning sensation, and it should be noted that these treatments are not recommended for children under the age of 2. We recommend that you speak to your doctor if you experience any discomfort or side effects.
Topical antibiotics.
Topical antibiotics are prescribed for secondary infections. Bacterial infections on the skin makes the eczema worse and harder to heal. Your doctor may prescribe Prevalence, which is a topical corticosteroid mixed with fusidic acid, which will help to clear the infection. You would apply this treatment after a bath to towel-dried skin and only to the areas affected by the eczema. You would then use your regular moisturizer on the rest of the skin. You may also use this more than once a day, but it's important that you speak to your doctor first and that you use this treatment option exactly as prescribed. If the infection is more widespread or serious, your doctor will prescribe oral antibiotics.
Barrier repair emulsion treatments.
Episerum is a new, non-steroidal barrier repair emulsion therapy that is safe for all ages. Episerum is made up of key lipids or fats that are said to be lacking in the skin of many patients at the time from the when compared head-to-head with a mild, potent combination of steroid, we've shown there are similar benefits in improving eczema. Apply this treatment to your skin after bathing, and then gently pat your skin with a soft, clean towel. You may also apply it additional times throughout the day, but always speak to your doctor first to ensure that it's the most suitable course of treatment.
Bathing and moisturizing.
Frequent bathing, even 2 to 3 times daily, followed by a moisturizer, should be your first defense in managing eczema and their flares. Bathing allows moisture to enter the skin, and coating the skin after every bath or shower with an emollient or moisturizer helps to seal that moisture in the skin. This is necessary for patients with eczema as the natural skin barrier, which would normally trap moisture in the skin, doesn't work very well. As a result, this leaves their skin dry, rough, and sensitive to irritants. In the past, some patients were told not to bathe daily. However, today we know that it is the bathing and moisturizing technique that actually helps to hydrate the skin and improve the skin. Keep your skin well hydrated. Take a 5 to 10 minute bath or shower in warm but not hot water. After getting out, pat the excessive water off your skin using a soft, clean towel, but leave some of the water on your skin. Then apply moisturizer within 3 minutes of your bath or shower. It is important to apply the moisturizer on your skin while it is still damp, because this is what helps to trap some of that water in your skin, keeping it healthy and moist. Also remember to apply a moisturizer several times throughout the day. Moist skin will reduce itchiness, which in turn results in less inflammation, reducing the itch tract cycle.
Choosing products.
When you have eczema, choosing the right product to protect your skin becomes extremely important. You will need a gentle moisturizer, a gentle cleanser. Both of these together can actually help. Soap actually dries the skin, so choose a gentle skin cleanser that is formulated for eczema, or one that is made for sensitive skin. Also select a moisturizer that is formulated for eczema, and one that feels good on your skin. By remembering to moisturize every day, you will greatly reduce the dry and cracking in your skin. This therapy will keep your eczema under control and manageable. With a little bit of effort, your skin will do the best it can be, and in return, you will be the best you can be.
Sealed acceptance.
The Eczema Society of Canada is a registered Canadian charity dedicated to education, support, awareness, and research. Eczema is most often a chronic condition, and people living with eczema have to care for their skin every day in order to control the eczema. Diligent daily skincare, along with the avoidance of triggers, is what helps to improve the skin. The most common question that we are asked is related to skincare products, such as what cleanser is gentle enough and what moisturizer should I be using. This inspired our Seal of Acceptance program, whereby we review products using strict criteria. Our expert panel looks at ingredients, formulation, and clinical data to ensure that those products are gentle and effective. A number of products have earned our seal and are all good choices for your daily eczema regimen and to care for your sensitive skin.
Tips for living with eczema.
In addition to bathing and moisturizing and using your prescription products, there are a few other things that you can do to stay comfortable and effectively manage your eczema throughout the day. As the Executive Director of the Eczema Society of Canada, I also have 2 children who suffer from the condition. To help us manage on a daily basis, I like to keep the following tips in mind. First, there's no quick fix to eczema. It takes long-term management. But if you put in the effort, you should see great results. Keeping your skin moist and well hydrated by bathing and moisturizing daily is your first line of defense. A cool mist humidifier may be helpful, especially in the bedroom. Just ensure that you follow the cleaning instructions that come with the unit. Avoid sweating and overheating when possible, as it will increase the itchiness and contribute to your eczema flares. Try applying an ice pack to the skin during an itchy flare-up, as this will help to ease the itchiness and the discomfort. Be sure to use some type of layer of cotton or a towel between your skin and the ice pack just to protect the skin. Cotton breathable clothing is often most comfortable against the skin. Arm yourself with a good moisturizer and a gentle cleanser. And do apply that moisturizer a few times throughout the day, or when you start to feel a little bit itchy. Avoid harsh soaps, detergents, and fragrances, as these may contribute to your eczema flares. Look for sunscreens that are formulated for sensitive skin, and it's often wise to patch test these on a very small area before applying to the entire body. Keep nails filed short and smooth to lessen the damage done by scratching. This is especially important for children because the damage that they do is what contributes to eczema flares and to possibly infection. Use your prescription products exactly as your doctor tells you, and ask questions when you're there if you're unsure or have any concerns about your treatment. Remember that people often use too little of a product rather than too much, and using the product correctly is going to ensure that you get the results you're looking for.
Yes, he just bumped me. So they changed something on that. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum, and a very good afternoon to all the guests here. Thank you for coming to the Malaysia Eczema Support Group Meet the Expert Forum. Today, I would like to introduce and invite two of our guests here who are known experts in their fields. The first one, yang berusaha, Dr. Amir Hamzah bin Dato' Abdul Latif, yang berusaha Dr. Kartini Rahim. Dr. Amir Hamzah will be speaking first. Let me just read a little bit about his background. He's a consultant clinical immunologist, an allergist for adults and pediatrics, and consultant pediatrician. He practices his craft in science at the Allergy and Immunology Center at the Pantai Hospital, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He's also the president of the Malaysian Society of Allergy and Immunology. He's a board member of the Asia Pacific Association of Allergy for Asthma and Clinical Immunology. And aside from that, he also has the time to be an editorial board member for AP Allergy, European Medical Journal, Allergy and Immunology. And now, last of all, I think his most impressive credential is the fact that he used to teach in University Putra Malaysia. And now it's come back full circle. Thank you, Dr. Amir, for doing this service to the Malaysian community at large, and specifically to the eczema community. So, without much delay, I would like to invite Dr. Amir Hamzah to please come to the podium.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Thank you for the very kind introduction. Thank you for to the organizers, especially Dr. Ong, who personally invited me to come and give this little, I would like to call it a little chat. Okay, nothing really formal around here. If you feel that you need to stop me and ask me something, I'm more than happy to stop and answer you there and then. All right. And yes, I used to be here in UPM. It gives me great pleasure, and thank you for inviting me to the White House. I feel so very honored, just like our Prime Minister was invited recently, right? Is that? Now, please stop me if I am going down the wrong route of talking politics. I have a really bad habit. This is recorded. Now I'm in trouble. Okay. Now, what I hope to do in the next half an hour or so is to give you a flavor of what allergy is all about. And you will see that there will be a bit of overlap with Dr. Kartini's specialty, obviously, when I deal with plenty of eczemas as well. I would say that I see both children and adults in about the equal numbers. And so what I hope to do is to see, well, what is this diary all about? So what's in the diary? Well, in the diary we'll talk about a case. We'll talk about the associated problems with the case, particularly the Atopic March and the diagnostics, allergy tests. I must talk something about anaphylaxis, but that's very important. Tell you a little bit about what's potentially a cure in allergy, that is your allergen-specific immunotherapy, and what can we really do to prevent allergy. Okay, so that's my scope. Let's just start cracking. Now, the diary says that I saw this 8-year-old boy one day, maybe about 3 years ago, and he presented with a blocked, runny nose for the past 3 years prior to seeing me. This occurs early mornings, and initially it was just 1 or 2 times a week, no big deal. But the last year before seeing me, the symptoms were of a daily nature. And it was associated with itchy, watery eyes. Intermittently he starts to cough as well. But there were no wheezing episodes. Okay? pretty much a typical story that I get, but I always look at it as if this is the first patient I've ever treated for allergy, because it is so different from one patient to another. And I think that's one of the targets that we really need to go to for the future. And the talk about personalized precision medicine is very true. So just getting a little bit more of the story, the patient, the boy, had so-called allergic reactions, whereby he get a little bit of rashes around the mouth after the first exposure of formula milk way back during infancy, to milk, and then later on to egg. And he had a past history of eczema. The family history says that there's two elder twin brothers having rhinitis. The rest of the story is that there's no exposure to pets. Now, he was diagnosed as having allergic rhinoconjunctivitis, okay? But there were no allergy tests done, okay? So he was treated along nicely and seems to respond with these oral antihistamines, a little bit of intranasal decongestants and corticosteroids, and a little bit of eye drops, the antihistamines eye drops, and the mast cell stabilizers, your cromolyn. So at that point of time, and as I always do, with all my patients, the first time they come, it's pretty much a long effort because most of them would have already seen 2 or 3 GPs, one specialist, maybe even a surgery as well, and they come to me and they tell me, "You're my last hope." I said, "I cannot be your last hope," okay? And a lot of the session means that I need to put everybody on the same page to understand what allergy is. Now, if you look at this, there's no pointer, right? Never mind. If you look at the right at the top, it's all about hypersensitivity. And if you look at the your left-hand side, then you will see that allergy is a hypersensitivity reaction involving the immune system. That's key, because until you show that the immune system is involved, it could just be a non-immune or intolerance, and there's two different things. You need to differentiate between intolerance and allergy. Okay, they are not the same. And if you look at allergy, really, now you break down into the different types of cells in the immune system. Then there is the IgE, right on the extreme left, immunoglobulin E, IgE, and the non-IgE cell, which is the other real big chunks of the immune system. And what I will obviously emphasize is a little bit on the atopic conditions, which is your eczema, your food allergy, your asthma, and your rhinitis. Now, I'm not going to bog you down with this, but basically in allergy, you need sensitization. That means you've got to be exposed to a potential allergen first, and that's what happens. Let's say you're exposed to dust mites or pollens or different foods, and for the wrong reason, the immune system starts to create a specific IgE against something that is harmless. Okay? That's what allergy is all about. Right? Your body is the problem in a way. Not the dust mite. Not the food. Right? It's your immune system, and then it goes and have all sorts of problems, and you get the symptoms, and we'll talk about that in a while. So why talk about allergy? Because it is a global public health issue, and it's affecting 10 to 40% of the world population, right? Now, what are the numbers that we are looking at? I take the data from Australia because they seem to be leading the way in terms of allergies worldwide. And if you look on the left-hand side, if you look closely, the one that's going up as we go towards 2006, right? The numbers are for your food allergy and eczema. Okay, the one right at the top, right? Whereas the bottom one are your respiratory allergies. Okay, your urticaria, your asthma, allergic rhinitis. And if you look on your right hand side, you will see that spike that's going up higher, right? The dark line there. Look at the age group. That's the age group for 0 to 4 years old. Your infants and toddlers, right? And this is anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis, I will come to that, is a severe, life-threatening allergic reaction. Where the worst case scenario is you die. Now, if you think that allergy is something that you can brush aside, this is not the case. I'm so sorry. And especially if you are dealing with food allergy, 80% of anaphylaxis in children, right, is due to food allergy. 80%, right? So this is a big number. But closer to home, let's look at what's happening in Malaysia. Now this is an old data. Unfortunately, we have not got new data since about 2000, the year 2000, and anything that's more than 5 years is a little bit too long. And if you look at the extreme end, this is based on the International Study of Allergy and Asthma of Childhood, your ISAC study, a big global study, and 3 centers in Malaysia took part way back in 1997, and these were the data, and this is the second publication, that means 3 years after that, and that came out in 2005, and you will see that about 8.5% at that time, about 10 years ago, had eczema. And if you look at the asthma, about 10.3%, okay, the third bar from your left. And if you look at those who ever had rhinitis, it's the highest at 15.2. Okay, so that's the data that we have then. Personally, I see it going up closer to that 20-30% now, across the board. Okay, so why is that so? So that's the, more of a research question, to be honest. But I think more important is we need to know why are we diagnosing allergy, because we want to avoid the proven allergies. So it's important to confirm it is allergy. Okay, we also need to give the right treatment, the drugs, which are the symptomatic relief. And if you find out that there's a certain condition like allergic rhinitis, then there's immunotherapy, which can be a potential cure. Okay? Now, if you delay the diagnosis, obviously we delay optimal treatment, we perpetuate more sensitization, increase the severity of the disease, increase risk of allergic fatalities, increase patient distress, and I think the main one across the board, which is it impairs the quality of life. Okay? It might not kill you immediately, or might not kill you at all, okay? Always be like, alright? But at the same time, it's the stress, the misery that comes across, right? From the patient to the family. Okay? So that's sort of what's like an introduction. Now, let me talk about the Atopic March. Okay? Now, Atopic March essentially means the natural history of allergies. So once you're diagnosed with a condition that is an allergic condition, then we want to know how it pans out. If this is the skin manifestation, they tend to be the earliest manifestation, right? Up to 20% of the eczema cases, maybe also urticaria, but not so much during infancy, happens during that time. And as you become more mature and you go into your teenage years, you will see that it will decrease. Your eczema will decrease. Okay? And if you see at the same time, the red line, that's your food allergy. Okay? It occurs at about the same time when the eczema starts. Not in everyone, okay? But it does, and you can see there's a peak about 3. And yes, it will also start to come down by about before you hit 20 years old. And the last peak though, the green line, that's your respiratory. So your allergic rhinitis and your asthma. Okay? So you can see the food allergy, the eczema comes down, but now comes your allergic rhinitis or asthma. So that's what you call the Atopic March. you've gone on coming out, say at about 5 years old, no more eczema, no more food allergy, you're tolerant, but now you start to get allergic rhinitis and asthma. So really, allergy is a chronic disease. Once you get it, you're more likely to hang on to it for a long time. Okay? So if I were to just sort of dissect what I just stated, you can see you have the eczema, GI, food allergy, and then you get your allergic rhinitis and asthma. Look at the two red lines, right? The one at the bottom, or start the one at the top first, the food sensitivity. So as you can see, high up there, when you first get your eczema, you get your food allergy, and as that goes away, the food sensitivity goes away as well. And at the same time, your inhalant, that means say the dust mites, that's the most common around here, starts to come up and you get your allergic rhinitis and asthma. Okay? And sometimes we try to predict who are the ones who are going to be asthmatic. Okay? So what do we have? Some of the tools. Now I'm not going to bog you down too much, but I'm mindful as well. I think in the crowd, it's a mixed group, right? So I'm trying to balance to give enough information for everyone without going too technical. But I think some of you may be familiar with the Asthma Predictive Index. This was back in the year 2000 when it was devised. And if you ever had wheezing episode in the first 3 years of life, at least 4 and above or 3 and above, and you had one major criterion, let's say your mom had an asthma, then you're more likely up to 10 times higher to get asthma when you grow up between 6 to 13 years old. Okay, so you can begin to try and predict. And either you get one major criterion or you get 2 out of those 3 minor criterion. They modified that in about 5 years later to now include the food and inhalant sensitization as well. Alright, so but I won't go into that. Just to give you a flavor, this is what the sort of research tools that we have. Now, this might be a little bit busy, but I think concepts are important. You'll probably be wondering if everything that's eczema is allergy. Now, I just want to bring you to attention, maybe the Kartini will be explaining a little bit more as well, but from the allergies perspective, and when I look at the eczema, really, we're talking about the impaired skin barrier. Your skin barrier dysfunction in about 70% of the time. That's when it happens, and you get the problem of scratching and environmental factors, more like soap and all dust mites, and then that's the problem. Okay? It's only when you're exposed to the allergens on your right-hand side, then you may have acquired the sensitization, then only we say it's atopic dermatitis. Right? So that really contributes to only about 30%. Okay? 70% of the time, skin barrier dysfunction. And this is what I tell parents. I might not show this. I will simplify this. I will say the concept of inside out, outside in. It's a very familiar phrase. Right? Because the end point to all this, and really, if you talk about immunology nowadays, or any diseases, it's all about inflammation. Right? You eat something, has it got anti-inflammatory properties? Has it got antioxidant properties? You know, that's why supplements, nutrigenomics is coming to be probably better than pharmaceuticals. And I'm for that. I'm looking at everything more holistically now. If I want to be precise, I cannot practice Western medicine 100%. Okay? But I'm only, there's only that much that I'm willing to go through and learn things. So I just teach myself. So a few things here and there. So that's the bottom line. So the bottom line is outside in. So the skin barrier dysfunction causes inflammation inwards, and from the inside out, that's your immune system causing the allergy. And that is only about 30% contributing to the eczema. So this is important because the focus on the treatment, I'm not going to touch on the treatment of eczema. Okay? They're plentiful. Yeah? I can do that easily, but we have another speaker for that. No problem at all. I just want to touch on the mechanisms and the concepts, because it means that the emphasis on the moisturizing becomes really important. Okay? Don't think about looking out for allergy. If anything, look at the condition of the skin first. Because if you do not take care of the skin, now this looks even more busy, but at least it looks more friendly because it's colorful. And if you look at what the concept is, if you had eczema and you had sensitization through the skin, then that exposure would sensitize the body already. And if the body gets it wrong and interprets that as being harmful, and you now eat those things, you might get an allergic reaction straight away, or you might get more sensitized. People think that, oh, I've never given the child anything to eat yet. Right? And yet your test tells me that he's allergic to egg at 6 months. How's that so? That's because the eczema is really bad at that time. You're baking a cake in the kitchen. Here comes the baby, from the caretaker and gives to you. Your hands full of the wheat, the flour, and then a little bit of the egg that you just ate, and then you give a kiss back right at where the eczema is. That's the exposure. That's your sensitization. Alright? Okay? So, that's your dual allergen exposure hypothesis. If you look two other things, you might have heard about hygiene hypothesis. Right? This is a well documented hypothesis in the literature since 1989, first described by David Stecken, a pediatric epidemiologist, and he thinks that if you look, there's allergy on your left and tolerance. If you are deprived of exposure to microbes, right? Okay, and that might happen, you see, in an urban setting where it's too hot, it's not safe in the urban, all the crimes that we hear, parents will just keep everybody indoors. Okay? It's real. Okay? It's fact. I see many people smiling already. Okay? I wish it was like 20 years ago, and that 20 years ago means there's less allergy. Because we are outside playing. We are playing marbles everywhere, we are rolling on the ground, we get dirty. And when we get dirty, you have exposure to the microbes right down there. You can't see well those red little rocks there, then you'll be more tolerant. But when you're deprived of the microbes, then there's a tendency towards allergy. Okay? So we don't call it really hygiene hypothesis nowadays, to be honest. We like to call it in its simplest form microbial deprivations hypothesis. Because then everybody says that hygiene hypothesis. No, okay, so Dr. Amir said, no need to clean your hands, don't take a bath for 1 week, then you'll be less allergic. Good, that's the solution. No, that's not the solution. So we move away from hygiene hypothesis. Because we want you to wash your hands after your plate. So that is the hygiene hypothesis. And the last bit, your vitamin D in particular. So that's something that's coming up as well, more data coming across. And that shows that if you are deficient in your vitamin D, you're more likely to get problems with your eczema, enhance your sensitization problems, and then that's the link with the, I'm not going to go into the details of it, right? But the crunch is, and that's what I'm starting to do in almost all my patients now, even the children, to check the vitamin D levels as well. Right? And so far I'm seeing 60% of them are either insufficient or deficient. And you can't blame them. Who's out there in the sun nowadays? Who's out there playing in the monsoon rain 12 o'clock noon? Obviously I used to do that. Okay, that's why I'm saying that. As if just only yesterday I was just doing that and pretending all the cars that are moving by are the enemies and I'm shooting them down. We don't play that sort of things anymore. Nowadays it's, right? I say that, I'm still struggling with my daughter, who's just like, every morning wakes up, iPad, iPhone. Okay, alright, never mind. Let's carry on. So I hope I've not bogged you down with these fundamentals. It's important because then you'll know what's current, what's research all about, and whether that's translated into clinical practice. Now, let's go on to quickly now. Somebody tell me when to stop, right? Or give me some warning. Okay. I know there's a timer here, and I think I need to go a little bit faster now, but I think I needed to do that. The concept, the fundamental, the basic. Now, when you talk about allergy tests, you must remember that the most important thing is still your history. Your clinical history, more history, and even more. Right? You're more of a medical detective when you're an allergist than any of the other physicians. Right? With all due respect. We must analyze and dissect everything. Anything is possible. That's why sometimes patients look at me and say, you know how to cook very well, don't you? You know, your asam pedas and everything, your mee curry, your meat prawn. I need to know everything. Right? Even how you store your flour at home in the kitchen. Right? I'm a busybody, I'm so sorry. Okay, the more I get information, the more accurate the diagnosis will be, and then only I will get some skin prick test or blood test to confirm it, and maybe even a challenge test if I find that those two tests were not really adequate. And all of us know that the basic symptoms and target organs allergic diseases is also age dependent and mostly would involve more than 2 systems, and you got to remember that one allergen can cause different symptoms, okay? So you get a dust mite, it can cause problems with your eczema, allergic rhinitis, asthma. So I call it the full package. And so it could be a gastrointestinal reaction for the food allergies. You get your bloating, you get your diarrhea, vomiting, and you get your skin reactions, which is the main topic for today. And then, of course, respiratory reactions I've already mentioned, and the worst case scenario, your anaphylactic shock. When you get that sort of history, then you usually end up with getting at least a family history, because then you know if both parents are involved, having some form of allergic diseases, right on the your right there. So there's a 50 to 80% chance that your child is going to have some form of allergic disease, right? And so when we did our study with the industry, and we find that this risk is actually 1 in 5 children in Malaysia are at risk of having allergy in some form or another. So that's what I'm saying, we are closer to that 20%, we're probably even closer to that 30% now. So, and there are only a few of us in Malaysia, unfortunately. So this is something I've been battling with the Ministry of Health to get, and since maybe I look direct into the camera and say that we need more allergies and clinical immunologists. Alright, I've done my job. And these are the common allergens. When you talk about food allergy, I'm going to emphasize a little bit more also on the food. You will see that it is the G8. There are 8 major food allergens that would account for 90% of all food that will cause food allergy, and hence contributing to about 30% of that allergy towards your eczema. So that's your cow's milk, your egg white, your soy, your wheat, your peanut, right? Your tree nuts, so I say kacang to kacang, right? And then you have your fish and shellfish, right? So you can see that your fruits and veggies, they are the minor food allergens. They are what we call heat labor, because once you cook that, inshallah, there's no problem if you take it and eating that. So if you take fresh salad and you take it, you have problems, you get a reaction around that, you might even have some choking effect, but when it's well cooked, there's no problem. As opposed to, let's say, egg. If you take it hard-boiled egg, the structure is still intact, right? You still need it to be like at least 180 degrees and above, because that's basically your cake. So that's what the usual story. He takes cake, no problem. But he takes the hard-boiled egg, he gets all rashes and becomes all swollen and cries, and then even looks like he's gasping for air. Okay? So that's the more common allergens. And then just a little bit on the inhalant. Your dust mite is the most common, and then your bees and wasps, which are your stinging insects, they would also be a common allergen. Now, so if you want to do the allergy test, there are 2 things basically that I do in the clinical practice. I think the last bit, the challenges, they are more research. As I only do a lot of the drug challenge, not so much the oral food challenge, more of the drug. and it's a real pain to do challenges. Okay, I literally say that, and more. There's too many episodes now where I end up treating the anaphylaxis because of that. It's a risk. It's a risk when you do a challenge. That's why you need a consent form. You explain to them for half an hour this might happen. But because we give it in a small tiny dose, let's say 0.1 milligram, and then 20 minutes later we increase it to 0.2 milligrams, if there was a reaction, we stop. Okay, but sometimes even that 0.1 to 0.2 becomes really bad. They're all swollen up and they're gasping for air, and I have to push in the adrenaline immediately. No second thoughts. Right? When there's anaphylaxis, you must give your EpiPen or your adrenaline, which I'll come to in a while. Right? So between that, of course, when you do a skin prick test, that's more interactive. And this is my patient, not the patient that I described. This is a 4-year-old. Not sure whether you can see very well, but basically we have a commercial kit. We put a drop of that, and we do a tiny little prick or scratch that will introduce the allergens 1 millimeter tip. That's about all. You're not supposed to draw any blood, because then that will cut off the risk of reactions. Okay, and alhamdulillah, I've not had any anaphylaxis doing a skin prick test. Theoretically, you can. Okay, the worst that I had was a bad severe asthma, and that was easily reversible, thank goodness, with the nebulizer. Right? So you do need to be well trained, but you can train others who can just do the test under your supervision, not a problem. So what you see is the bottom right, what we call the wheel and flare, the mosquito bite reaction. A bit of redness and the swelling. So we measure the swelling, and if it is 3 millimeters more than the negative control, which is saline, then it's a positive result, 3 millimeters more. Sometimes, and this happens with the minor food allergens, the commercial kits are not stable because after a while, the protein might be away, gone. So you want to do a prick. So you prick the apple, and then you do the skin prick. Okay, and look for the reaction. Okay. Now, what I need to alert you is if you have a positive result, whether it's a blood or the skin test, it is not immediately allergy. That's the first thing. It just means the patient is sensitized. You have to go back and correlate to the symptoms. Then you will decide whether it's allergy. And this is where the experience will come. Okay, in interpretation. Doing it is easy enough. Either you order the blood test or do the skin prick test, someone else does it. Interpretation is the challenging work. And if you ask me which is more sensitive, I'm going to say they're both as sensitive, they're both as specific. So you can do both skin prick test or the blood test. In vitro is the blood test, skin prick test, that's what I've already shown. The value comes from your actually both positive predictive value and a negative predictive value, okay? So no major difference. The good thing is, if you are able to stop your antihistamines, okay? And that's your, the one that's colored orange. Good thing I put it in colors. You know, it can be used independently of pharmaceutical treatment. Can you read that line already? Yeah, you've identified that. So, in skin prick test, you need to stop your antihistamines at least 3 days for first generation antihistamines, maybe a week for your second generation. Because if you don't, then you don't get that reaction you're looking out for. You must stop. But some, you cannot stop the antihistamine, right? Betul, eh? So, we say that, then let's do the blood test. Because the blood test can do irrespective. A little bit more expensive, but nowadays I'm trying to get that down, at least through Pantai Lab, and make it more affordable for everybody. I'm really into cost saving here and make it very cost effective. And but it still take about 3 to 5 working days. Whereas if you do a skin prick test within 20 minutes after you've done the prick test, you'll know the results already. Okay, so there are pros and cons, but they're just both as good. Okay, I've been hearing a lot of stories. Some are saying, let's do the skin prick test, let's do the blood test, and I say, let's look at what's the situation now. Okay, as simple as that. Alright, so far? Okay? Yeah. Now, I have to bring this up, I'm so sorry, okay, because you must never do things that are not proven, and the so-called in vitro test, and including, I think some of you may even have done an LCAT test, but those are not really allergy tests. There's no, the first one, there's no diagnostic value at all. There's no scientific principles to it. Full stop. Number two, there is validity in doing the measurement, but there's no correlation, no data or research to do the correlation. Okay, so that's the difference. And this is the machine that we use, right? You can run this and get your results actually in about 2 hours, but the whole process, sampling, taking blood and everything, that's why it's about 3 to 5 days. Okay? Now what we have and what I hope to introduce is what we call molecular. Now, if you see this, then you'll be thinking, what is that? That's your pollen, your birch tree pollen on the most left-hand side. You know that's an apple, and the other side is your hazelnut. Okay? Now look at that. Look at the colors. Birch tree, yellow, apple, blue, and your hazelnut, red. That is the unique allergen molecules. But inside there, there's also a lot of other molecules that are not unique to that particular food. And those are what we call the cross-reactive allergen molecules. So sometimes it's these that are causing the positive reaction rather than the unique one. So if we did and tease out all these separately, then we are more definite in our diagnosis. We are also able to then now predict, even from the unique one, which are the more likely ones to cause, say, anaphylaxis. So this is the advance of the technology, and we are able to do molecular, or what we call the component resolved diagnostics, or CRD. That's the, what shall we say, standard term. Okay, so that's the allergy test. Let's look at anaphylaxis. So far, as you know, the treatment is basically whether you have your eczema. I didn't touch too much on that. Dr. Kartini will do that. But you know that if you have allergic rhinitis, you have the intranasal steroids, or if you have asthma, you have your inhalers. The last two bits that I'm going to touch about is basically anaphylaxis, which is now, and your immunotherapy. And I've already mentioned this. It's a serious life-threatening, generalized or systemic hypersensitivity reactions or serious allergic reaction that's rapid in onset and can be fatal. Right? So you have to take note of that. And in there are many causes, and I've already told in children to keep it to time and simplicity. 80% of anaphylaxis in children due to food allergy. So you've got to be sure that your children do not have food allergy. Then at least you know that you won't run into the risk of anaphylaxis. Right? Now, this is too much for many of you, I think. But for those, in fact, for everyone, the most important is the first paragraph, which is the first line priority medication. And that's your injectable, your adrenaline, your self-injectable adrenaline, and the one that we have is the EpiPen. Okay, the topmost is the old version, first generation, second generation. This is another brand. Okay, so if you have diagnosed anaphylaxis, basically you have two systems. Let's say you started off with a bit of rashes and then it becomes swollen. So that's just the skin. 5 minutes later, your child starts to have okay, I still can do it quite well, huh? And sometimes you have this story, and this mom calls me up, and there's an accidental exposure of a hazelnut, which is not very sure whether there's any problem, although we had done the test and there was no problem. And I feel my son is drifting away from me. This is me on the phone, she's calling me up. Okay? And I say, what happened? What was the situation? He just had this hazelnut. We know that it was not a problem when we tested 1 year ago. Okay? So this is the thing. It does evolve, unfortunately. And if he has actually peanut allergy. And there's a 30% chance that you're going to cross-react with a hazelnut or a tree nut. And that's what I say across the board, avoid all forms of nut. So I say calmly, here my heart is racing like nobody's business, but thank goodness I'm on the phone. So calmly I say, so are you sure you're definite? And it sounds to me that this is anaphylaxis, right? Have you got your EpiPen with you? I say, yes, it's in my hand. Okay, the mom tells me, okay, right, I'd like you to use it. And silence. silence, you know, I just wondering what's happening. What's happening? And then about 20-25 minutes later, I get a call from the ED. Oh my God, what happened now? And said, you have your child here, your patient, is jumping up and down around the ED here, as if nothing's wrong. Oh, that was it. I said, thank goodness. Right? And then I get the information quickly. Did the mother give the EpiPen? Yes. A big yes from the medical officer. The mom saved her son. Okay, with the EpiPen. Because that was clear. Because this, in children, in adults, you say sense of impending doom. Now you have the feeling that you're going to die. You're going to die. Right? But in children, they can just say, and you probably think they're joking, but actually you're panicking. But this mom says it seems to be drifting away, and it's going to go into a shock, basically. Right? So then I had to be firm and say, please use your EpiPen. There's no doubt about it. You have to use, full stop, no questions asked, anaphylaxis, get your adrenaline in. Okay? Because what it does is, it does everything. Your blood pressure, just look on the clinical relevance there. See, your blood pressure goes up, right? The airways all open up, right? It decreases the angioedema, your throat opens up, and your wheezing becomes less. So it's a Nescafe 3-in-1 style, you know, everything is there. But as much as I like to make some cracks, some jokes here and there, this is no laughing matter. Okay? Your son, your daughter, your relative depends on you at that point in time to do the job. Okay, so we have trainers as well. The EpiPen trainers is a dummy, so they can play around it all the time. Okay, but I said please don't do it all the time until you bruise. Okay, but never mind. At least that's good. Okay, now a potential cure for allergies is your allergen-specific immunotherapy. Now let's go back to the story. I'm not going to repeat this, right? But I've highlighted that no allergy tests were ever done in that last 3 years. So obviously I did the allergy test, and it's not very clear, I don't think so, but the two longest line, the red line there, is a very strong positive results to dust mites. Okay, now you remember that he had eczema in the past, and he also had some allergic reaction, and it shows a little bit with the egg white. Can you see 1.30? Just go there. Second paragraph, the top line. That's your egg white. 1.30. Okay, anything that's more than 0.35 is a positive result, and anything that's 0.7 is more significant. Right? So obviously, what happens here is he actually has dust mite allergy, and that's why he has very severe allergic rhinitis. But thank goodness, no asthma. So he's a candidate for dust mite specific immunotherapy, which we started, and of course I explained to the parents what is it. I'm giving you the very thing the child is allergic to. If you give someone who has, you go to a GP and say, I want a flu vaccine. So you know there's going to be a flu virus in the vaccine. So the same thing applies to immunotherapy. It's actually a vaccine by definition. It's not a chemical, it's not a drug. It's a vaccine. Okay? And in the vaccine, there is the dust mite, or it could be a cat dander, a dog dander, alternaria, which is a mole, aspergillus, can be anything on the inhalant. Okay? So you give that with the aim that you, what's the time now? I really got to wrap it up a little bit better. Is that you re-educate your immune system to be tolerant. That's what I tell parents and patients. It's your immune system who's hypersensitive now. Now I want to teach it back to be tolerant again. The problem is, it's like taking a degree, which means 3 to 5 years. Okay, the immune system is a defense system, right? It has to be very tough and robust. You cannot have a bacteria coming to you and into your body, and your immune system say, Alah, bakteria yang kita dah tengok hari tu, dia okey saja. You want your immune system to be thinking like that? No. Alright? You tengok dah lembut aja, dibawa parang sikit je. Kita kan ada bazooka. Boleh fight, no problem. If you have that, we all in trouble. So, if it has decided your dust mite is dangerous and harmful, it will get rid of it. It wants to create the inflammation to make sure it gets rid of it. So that's why there are many compartments. Let me just show you this slide just to tell you that it has actually been accepted, endorsed by WHO as far back as 1998. It's just the awareness of the specific immunotherapy here in Malaysia, but in the West, they're doing it as pretty much routine once those patients are meeting the criteria. My own patients, if they come with allergic rhinitis or asthma, probably about 10-15% end up having the immunotherapy. So not everybody. They will go through all the standard treatment first. Sometimes they say, no, I don't want any more of this treatment. I don't want to be inhaling anymore. Sometimes adults will say that. So that's another, sort of indication as well. Right? And let me just also tell you before I show the slide I'm coming to, that you can either give it as an injection, subcutaneous, right, on this side, or you give it as a sublingual beneath your tongue, and which means you can give it either as drops, okay. These are all available except the tablet, okay, in Malaysia for your information. Alright, the one that is currently being brought in is the spray, okay, your sublingual, the spray, and if I show, this is the slide that I want to show you. It's so complicated now. I showed you a simple slide earlier on. Now you'll be saying, okay, alright, I believe you. Betul lah ni allergy lah ni. Okay, alright. So, but we have to teach every cells, every department of the immune system to be tolerant. So, if I were to show in a simple way, this is what immunotherapy is about. It's about, first, when a healthy person that's not sensitized, it will then gauge, is it going to be tolerant? Or if it gets it wrong, it will become allergic. So the right reaction is your top right, tolerance. Okay, I'm going to just use dust mite. But if it gets it wrong, and then it produces the IgE, and it becomes an allergic patient. Okay, so the balance has swung the other way, from IgG, tolerant, to IgE. Okay, now if tonight you get see me in your dreams like this, I'm so sorry, okay? The whole idea about the specific immunotherapy is to make it tolerant again. So it's just, tilting the balance and making sure it stays there forever. Inshallah, it's the closest thing to a cure that we have with the immunotherapy. And this slide is just to show all those things that I've already shown, so that after about a year, everything becomes educated and you sustain the memory cells for another 2 years, 3 years at least, and then you would say that now the body is tolerant again. So that's why it needs that 3 to 5 years, unfortunately. Cannot give you one shot, everything done. I wish I could do that. Inshallah, maybe you will. Now the indications are basically for your inhalants and your, let's say, honeybee or your wolf sting. Alright? Not so much for the food. Now, not everybody can have immunotherapy, and I'm talking about the injection here. And what's important, I've highlighted in green that if you have a severe asthma, you must control that first before you start your immunotherapy. Because in the past, mortalities occurred because they were started in patients that were not well controlled, the asthma. That's important. That's why when I was training in UK, they had stopped the immunotherapy from being given by GPs back to the specialists. In US, it's actually done by GPs as well. So they did the studies, and what they found was this statement. When they analyzed all the deaths that happened because of the immunotherapy. On one hand, immunotherapy is good, but if you're not careful selecting the right patients, you end up with death. That's not a good thing either. Right? So you need to be trained when you do immunotherapy. You need to know all these facts. Right? Now, if you're pregnant, if you're already on maintenance dose of immunotherapy, I've started you, and I've got a few ladies who are concerned about it. First thing I ask, are you pregnant? Okay, if you're pregnant, you know, or you have suspicion that you might be pregnant, I say you better check that you're not pregnant. Okay, because if you are, and we're just about to start, not on maintenance yet, we cannot start it. But if you already started, then you get pregnant, okay? And I've got a lady who went through 3 pregnancies during her. Now, I'm not going to say much about that, right? Okay, it's not the immunotherapy that got her pregnant. Okay, sometimes I make a joke with her and she just laughs at me, right? The husband wasn't laughing at all. No, I'm just joking, obviously. Now, and of course, severe atopic eczema. Okay, you got to be careful. And I've had that situation where parents still say, please, since what you're saying, can we go ahead? I said, this is a relative contraindication, and I have not done any with severe atopic eczema except for this one teenager, and it was really, really miserable for both parties. Okay, so I won't elaborate that. Maybe in the discussion we can all open the floor for discussion. So side effects, and I think I should be coming towards the last few slides now. Now, what's good about the immunotherapy is, for this boy, he did not have asthma. Immunotherapy would be able to prevent the asthma from studies, right? So he had that 3 years treatment, follow up. One was placebo, the bottom one, and those who were got the controls at the top one. And those who had the immunotherapy, the brown line, they were 45% less likely to get asthma. Okay, when you're on the follow-up. So it does prevent asthma as well, if you have just allergic rhinitis. Now for food, I'm just going to say it does not work yet at this point in time. Right? It's back to the drawing board. It does not have that case of being able to outgrow it. But you probably ask me, why do the immunotherapy in food if you say that it's going to outgrow? What I've not touched is, you can outgrow in most, except maybe from the data, the peanuts and the shellfish. Right? But the data now shows as well that if I say in 85% of your children who has got egg white allergy, in about 85%, by 5 years old they will outgrow it. I would probably say that 5 years ago. But the data now shows that by 5 years old, only about 50% will outgrow it. That's the problem we have. It's the resolution, the natural history now is being dragged. Instead of outgrowing at 5 years old for an egg white allergy, or 3 years old, 85% of it, at that age, now it's only about 50%. That's the problem. So now you'll be thinking, and you will see more teenagers are still not outgrowing their food allergies. And this is where now we start thinking about food immunotherapy. But the problem is, the data shows that at best it's only short term. It doesn't give that long-lasting effect that you're looking for. So the last bit is prevention, and doctors in the house, we did come out with this Malaysian Allergy Prevention guideline. It's downloadable from the MASA website and the Obstetric Ops website, not the MPA. I was representing MPA. So I was really disappointed with that. I'm going to look at that as well. I see all the 2 past presidents, why they have not put out and download and uploaded it on their website. Okay? There's a 3rd president coming out. He's a good friend of mine, but never mind. I have my issues. Alright, the recommendation from here is simple. For maternal diet and breastfeeding, once upon a time we said, don't eat those food allergens that you're more likely to give to your children. There's no data, no evidence for that. Okay? So, mothers who are pregnant and then later who are breastfeeding, carry on eating normal food. Okay? For as long as you know that even if you are allergic, that doesn't mean that you have to avoid it. Alright? I'm talking about prevention, right? I'm not talking about that, okay? Now, hydrolyzed formula, okay, there's a bit of a debate here, but so far it does show a little bit of evidence that partially hydrolyzed formula. Now, without really advertising here, but the one that comes to my mind always is your NAN-HA. I think some of you may have tried that on your children. Then it may prevent allergies. but it is not the treatment for a cow's milk protein allergy. That's what I need to alert you. And introducing your solids, now we say introduce it between 4 to 6 months, not wait after 6 months. Because why? We have found that window of opportunity through research that if you introduce during that 4 to 6 months, you're less likely to get allergies, right? Especially your food allergy and your eczema, actually. Okay, it's not if you go by strength of evidence, it's evidence B. Environment, there's no need to avoid unless you're proven allergic, and I've talked about the immunotherapy. Okay, so I've gone through all the things that are in the diary, and if I were just to come back to the Atopic March, is the last slide, then you will see this sort of representation. You'll see that they were present with eczema during infancy, and then you will see that the main problem I've already mentioned is your skin barrier dysfunction, particularly your pellagrine. There's problem with your staphylococcus colonization, your sweats and soaps and everything, and you get your maybe the low vitamin D. I'm just sort of putting everything and summarizing. And if you look at the food allergy, I've already mentioned those 8 foods will cause 90% of the allergies. And I've not talked about eosinophilic esophagitis, no worries. And I've already told you about the blood test. And if you were to do that and try to predict whether your child is going to get allergic rhinitis or asthma, I would probably do the test for inhalant allergens, right? Indoor ones at age 1 year and outdoor allergens at age 3. Okay? So you will see that if that eczema would actually increase the risk of allergic rhinitis right at the bottom on the left, on the right side, 3-fold, and food allergy will increase that about 10-fold. Okay, so I think that's the sort of really broad overview that I wanted to give. I've probably taken too much time, but I'm just taking the opportunity because I'd like to congratulate you all. It's something that I wanted to do with my society, the Malaysian Society of Allergy, to have an allergy support group for a long time. But in the last 5 years, my heart and dedication was to the patients with primary immunodeficiencies who are just mismanaged by, I'm going to look at, because of the lack of clinical immunologists in the government service. Alright? If I'm going to get into trouble, I might as well get into trouble for the right reason. Okay? But even then, that's not a guarantee. But we try. Inshallah. Okay? So I've been doing that, and alhamdulillah, they have now their own organization registered, the Malaysian Primary Patient Organization for Primary Immunodeficiency. They have been acknowledged as the most active in the 3 years that they have been formed in 2014, 2015, 16 and 17. Since then, they are recognized internationally in UK through the international body. I'm really proud of that. Okay, my heart really goes out to them because I think it's sad. They have not been diagnosed properly. They have been overlooked, and they, yeah. So that is why I thought, one of the bucket lists, the allergy bit, but I just couldn't find the time yet. So congratulations to all of you here. I wish there would be more, and I'd like to collaborate, obviously, the society with your group, and I think that will be the way forward from now on. Okay, thank you very much for your very kind attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abel Hamzah, for that very extensive talk. Izinkan saya ulaskan sedikit, oleh kerana forum ini merupakan satu gabungan ataupun satu perjumpaan di mana ada dua golongan, yang very technical dan yang ada eczema. Betul tak? Okay. Jadi sekarang saya nak ulaskan sedikit apa yang saya boleh ingat. I will take there 3 takeaways daripada what I heard from Dr. Amir Hamzah just now. First of all, allergy. When we talk about allergy, why are we talking about it within the context of eczema? Kenapa ya? Satu, yang pertamanya, 1 out of every 5. Betul ya, Dr. 1 out of every 5. Kalau kita tengok statistically, that's almost 20% of the population and possibly more. Dan kalau allergy itu merupakan satu trigger, then you really have to look at it very carefully. For those of you yang ada eczema, saya ada eczema dan saya ada family yang memang ada versions of eczema. I have to look very carefully at the very concept of what is an allergy, what is allergy, and what are the causes. One of the biggest dangers of all, for some of you yang mungkin tak dapat correlate, ialah anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis itu di mana sesuatu yang kita makan boleh menyebabkan kita mati. Ya, kalau tak ditangani dengan cepat. If you don't take care of the situation, if you do not take care of the allergic, of knowing what you are allergic to, there is a possibility that you may have a very bad reaction. So one of the best ways to do it is to consult immunologists. And I hear you, Dr. We hear you, there aren't enough immunologists in the country. And I think at MESG, Malaysia Eczema Support Group, we're going to work very closely with you, Dr. New, because Dr. Amir, because we feel that these things will collide. And the best way forward is actually for us to collaborate. On the other hand, afterwards we're going to be talking to Dr. Kartini, who is actually the reason why we chose Dr. Kartini and Dr. Amir Hamzah is because eczema, what you see is the keradangan, the inflammation, and that is more on Dr. Kartini's side. She deals with your biggest organ, which is the skin, and Dr. Amir is dealing with it from the inside out. So now, I'd like to give you a brief introduction, a very brief introduction to Dr. Kartini. Dr. Kartini Farah binti Abdul Rahim used to practice at UPM. So she's very impressive for that particular reason alone. She is a consultant dermatologist at DEMC in Shah Alam, and she also runs a cat shelter. And may I say on the last note, I won't mention anything about her academic qualifications, but because I think her work will speak for itself. But I wish to highlight here that Malaysia Eczema Support Group has only been around 2 months. 2 months, and we have got 2,400 plus members already in 2 months. We have not spent 1 cent on marketing, and the primary reason why we have grown so fast and so organically is because of the responses of Dr. Kartini. And this I give her credit. So I'd like to give you, please, give us a hand. Yeah, it is by word of mouth that we have grown so fast. So, Dr. Kartini, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hisham, for the introduction. Okay, saya punya talk is very interactive. Okay, so it's not going to be one way. I'm used to giving talks in public, and first of all, I want to know, okay, how many participants here are doctors? Raise your hands. Good. Okay. How many of you are GPs? Okay. So most of you are hospital based. Okay. Good. How many of you came here because of you having eczema yourself? Angkat tangan. Okay. Great. So how many of you came here for your loved ones? That means your family members. Okay, good. So for a lot of reasons, especially for most of you, you have your own self with eczema or your family members. Usually children can have eczema. Okay. Now my second question. Do you want me to talk in English or in Malay or mixed? Mixed. Okay, good. I love to talk in mixed because sometimes, certain words that is very technical, sometimes I have to say it in a simpler way. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I can talk louder actually. Okay, can. I'm Dr. Kartini. I'm previously a lecturer in UPM, and I've worked in UPM for more than 10 years. But I think it was hard for me to leave because I was so tired. Okay, but working with UPM gave me a lot of confidence in managing eczema. Okay, eczema is the most common skin problem. Okay, in our clinic, and and second is psoriasis and other things. Okay, so previously I was in UPM. Our teaching hospital is in Hospital Sedang, but now I'm in Darul Islam Medical Center in Shah Alam. What I've done before, I do a lot of awareness campaigns. Okay, because to me it is important not just looking at patient. Tengok patient dekat klinik, you tengok satu one-to-one. But when you do awareness, I do National Skin Day, I do kesedaran, Hari Kesedaran, it uses a kesedaran hadrat dengan Suprativa, and I also support others support groups either online and also physically. I give talks for systemic lupus erythematosus, for eczema and others. Yeah? So I do a lot of other things other than my own, self, clinic. I'm a support group advisor for this Pertubuhan Kebajikan Ichthyosis, pesakit Ichthyosis Malaysia. Kalau you pernah tengok dalam surat khabar, you tengok dalam surat khabar, you tengok kesian orang macam bayi ular, sampai it comes out kan, bayi ular, because they were born with this genetic defect. So there are many types of ichthyosis, but this patient, if you see them, they're very shy because the skin is very, very bad, very dry. And one of type of ichthyosis, satu part is dia ada filaggrin gene defect, so sama macam atopic eczema. So dia punya management dia lebih teruk daripada eczema. Okay, you understand? So kalau you tengok patient ni, you must understand dia macam mana dia mengharungi you lebih teruk daripada you. Kalau dia pergi ke kedai, if they go to a shop, if they touch something like a bread, orang yang sebelah takkan touch because they think it is infectious. Okay, so you perasan kan? Apa kata lagi kalau nak pergi bekerja, nak cari kerja, nak pergi sekolah, it's very difficult for them. So for me, bring the awareness is important, so that orang faham. Second one is hydronegative support group, Malaysia. Kalau you ada, this is very common disease. You nampak macam pimple dekat muka, tapi this pimple is bad pimple on the flagellum area. Macam dekat di ketiak, dekat kawasan punggung, dekat kawasan pelipak bawah breast, especially for those female usually. Kalau you ada, any of your family members, please come and see me or go through this Facebook, hydronegative supportiva support group, because it's painful, it's discharging, and it can be smelly, and it can cause with scarring, can leave with scar. Scar. Okay, so we have to go to is this eczema? Sebelum kita nak treat, kita mesti tahu adakah itu eczema. Betul tak? Ini eczema ke, fungal ke, psoriasis ke, apa? And to treat it well, you have to know the diagnosis. Adik ni nak cakap sekali. Okay, so if you look at this, kalau tengok gambar ni biasa kita tengok. Kalau orang Melayu kata dia gerak susu. Okay, is this eczema? This is one of the criteria for atopic eczema. Tapi saya cakap pasal eczema ya. Okay, eczema, this is eczema. Ini eczema ke? Ya, ini juga. Sebab tu sometimes kadang-kadang dermatologist ni, you kena ada experience. You tengok banyak baru tahu. Okay, this is eczema, this is not. Okay, just nak tanya je dulu. So tengok you punya knowledge macam mana. Is this eczema? Eczema. Yes, it is eczema. Is this eczema? Yes, tapi ini nampak jari lain. Tadi bintik-bintik, sekarang dia macam besar tebal dekat belakang lutut kan? Okay. Is this eczema? If you look carefully, tengok betul-betul dekat tangan dia ada apa? Belon-belon air. We call it pemphigus. This is hand and feet eczema. That's actually the. Is this eczema? Before it becomes round, macam itu coin, bulat-bulat, it starts with very tiny, small, merah-merah bintik-bintik. You garu, jadi bulat dan berair. I tahu mesti you all pernah ada. Ada yang pernah ada. Ni nama dia discoid eczema. It's also a type of eczema. Okay, is this eczema? Pandai. This is fungal. Okay, kalau you tengok tergambar sekejap. Kalau tengok dekat dia punya keliling dia, you can see an active border. daripada more red and ada papules, bintik-bintik dekat luar, and bila dia merebak dia akan mengembang and central clearing, tengah-tengah dia clear. So this here. Is this eczema? No, this is psoriasis. Cool. Psoriasis, you tengok nails, systemic nails, nail dia terangkat because ada psoriasis on the nail bed. Jadi dekat dia punya scalp, dekat kulit kepala all around. So you can get it on your siku and nails. So what is atopic dermatitis? Kita sekarang kalau nak tahu treatment, kita kena tahu apa itu atopic dermatitis and how common is it. Okay, eczema or dermatitis is interchangeable. For dermatologist, kalau kita cakap dermatitis eczema is interchangeable, but some specific word we only use eczema, some specific word dermatitis. But for general term is the same. It's a common sin, sangat biasa kita tengok. Inflammatory disease is chronic relapsing. Maknanya dia akan berulang-ulang. You jangan kata dia datang sekali dulu. Tak. Dia akan berulang and extremely pruritic. If it's not itchy, kalau tak gatal, it's not eczema. Understand? It must be itchy. And kalau you tengok apa itu atopic, Dr. Amir dah cakap tu is hypersensitivity, high sensitivity. You dapat something, allergen, benda-benda yang you sebenarnya tak harmful, tapi badan kita ingat dia harmful. And then dia react to it. Okay. So kalau kita tengok Singaporean punya data, 20% of school children and teenagers aged 7 to 16 years old in Singapore ada atopic dermatitis. So it is very common. Okay. Satu, saya nak highlight atopic eczema ni. Kenapa kita cakap pasal atopic eczema? It's just skin. But you are wrong. When you have very itchy, kan, sometimes painful, after you scratch, you jadi apa? It's very, very bad until you cannot focus on your daily activity. So you boleh jadi embarrassed. Orang tengok kat muka, macam mana nak pergi kerja? Depression. Sometimes, until you tak boleh nak buat apa, until you so stressed, kat rumah pun you ada masalah, bergaduh dengan suami dia pasal anak tak boleh tidur. Okay, so it's very common. So sometimes you have to understand, you treat the patient as a whole, you can just treat the skin itself, you treat others. Sometimes others, kalau you treat the stress around also, it also helps the eczema. Sleep deprivation, tak cukup tidur, absenteeism, tak pergi sekolah, tak pergi kerja, loss of productivity. So why is there an increase in prevalence of atopic dermatitis? Ini Dr. Amir dah cakap, because ada hygiene hypothesis. Dr. Amir kata mungkin microbial deprivation. Yes. Hygiene hypothesis ni katakan you kan, anak you selalu duduk kat rumah, tak keluar, tak pernah tengok ayam itik ke, tak pernah main-main kat luar, kan? And dia akan the risk is higher. And anak you 1-2 orang saja. So dia tak ada faktor yang boleh membawa dia supaya immune system dia lebih kuat. Macam kita punya muscle, like our muscle, the more we give exercise, the more stronger it become. Betul? Betul tak? Kalau you berlari, otot you lebih kuat. Macam immune system juga. You kena buat dia, bagi dia expose, then dia boleh lebih kuat untuk menangani apa-apa yang masalah. All the allergic reaction. Faham tak? Saya cakap. Sebab kalau saya tak faham, saya akan ulang balik. Okay, so memang dalam journal banyak cakap budak-budak yang banyak dapat upper respiratory tract infection, kecil-kecil kan, selalu batuk-batuk. When they become older, they have less risk of eczema. Percaya tak? Budak-budak batuk pergi sekolah kan, lebih banyak pun budak-budak. But actually that helps them in the... Betul kan, Dr. Amir? Yes. So jangan risau anak you batuk-batuk kat sekolah, it's good. So Atopic March, bila kita atopic ni maknanya dalam keluarga you atau personal you punya sendiri atau keluarga you mungkin ada atopic punya March. Okay, history ataupun masalah-masalah ni. Allergic rhinitis maknanya resdung lah. Orang lain kata. Betul. Dr. Amir. Asthma, allergic conjunctivitis, kena abuk sikit keluar air mata. Or food allergies. Okay, so sama ada anak you ataupun family you, suami you ke, will have all this, and then your family ada boleh dapat atopic eczema anak-anak you. What are the stages of atopic eczema? Kenapa budak-budak muka selalu naik? Kenapa dekat bila dah besar dapat kat tangan? Do you know why? Nak tengok siapa pandai. Okay, nanti saya cerita sikit. So, budak-budak, when they're young, okay, actually the eczema is all over the body, bukan specific areas kan. But, ada budak-budak when they are crawling, dia nanti boleh menggeser-geser muka dekat mana? Dekat dagu mak dia. Betul? Dia dekat tu, bila dia crawling, dia dapat eczema sebab dia baru pandai nak berjalan, dia akan bergeser dekat dia punya kapek ke apa kat situ. So, you get eczema there because they rub, scratch. Faham? Nah, so memang kalau dia scratch itu, eczema dia boleh teruk dekat situ. Childhood stage, okay, bila dia pergi sekolah, pakai baju sekolah, and then dia ketat sikit kat situ, and then berpeluh, sweating, dia scratch dekat peluh dia, and then you get, that's why dekat pelipat, at the flexure areas, dekat neck, at the back of the knees, belakang lutut. Okay, and then adult, bila dah besar, dia pergi bekerja nanti kalau jadi suruh rumah pun tak apalah. Dia kena pegang sabun, kena pegang deterjen, kena pegang itu, kena pegang ini, so dia dapat hand eczema, and can be anything else. Dia tak make up, muka pun naik eczema. Okay, so adult eczema can be anywhere. How to diagnose atopic dermatitis? Kalau dermatologist, we have to go to the journal lah, how to diagnose. Kita ada Hannifin America, ada banyak cara untuk diagnose. Tapi Hannifin America kata must have 3 out of 3 or more of the following. Satu, mesti age, benda tu mesti gatal. And number 2, mesti ada typical tempat dia, mesti tempat yang biasa-biasa untuk children macam mana, untuk adult macam mana, chronic, and you mesti selalu berulang-ulang, dan personal or family history of atopy tadi saya kata. And the minor criteria banyak kalau tak payah baca, tapi for dermatologists, we love to look at all these minor things for you GP ya. Saya nak tunjuk you so that you know. Kalau you tengok atas sekali mata tu, is we call it, do you know what do you call that? Danny Morgan. Budak pagi-pagi dah rap mata, dia akan dapat double fold lower eyelid. Perasan tak anak you ada? Rasa. Dekat ni tepi shoulder ni nampak bintik-bintik, kita panggil keratosis pilaris. Okey, satu lagi kat muka. Okey, kalau you tengok muka anak-anak yang ada eczema, kadang-kadang muka dia tombok-tombok putih. Hypopigmentation, hypopigmented patches, sometimes a bit scaly, a little bit ada sisik sikit. Kita panggil pityriasis alba, dia mild eczema. Okey, bukan panau. Banyak orang ingat panau. This ectosis and what okay like this. Okay. So berbalik kepada stage ya, infantile stage selalu kat muka, childhood stage dekat pelipat, dan adult stage kat mana-mana saja. Alright. Okay? Ada soalan? So what causes atopic eczema? Siapa tahu apa penyebab atopic eczema? Tadi, yes, the genetic defect lagi. Ada banyak trigger factor kan? Lagi? Environment. Sekejap. Saya nak tanya myth or fact. Is eczema infectious? Adakah dia boleh berjangkit? No. Eczema is due to allergy to food. It's not. Banyak orang kata, ni saya sebab makan. It's not 100%, not all of you. Makan mesti dapat eczema? Tak. Eczema can be cured. No. Kan, dia akan turun sendiri, but it can berulang sampai bila-bila. Okay? So, cause is multifactorial. Banyak sebab. One is genetic predisposition. Dulu kan kita tak tahu genetik yang mana, tapi banyak dah research dah keluar, dia panggil ada satu mutation, ada gene dalam badan kita. Gene ni macam mana kita dapat dari mak bapak kita lah. Okay? immune dysfunction, maknanya badan kita dah hypersensitif kepada benda tu kan. Environment factors. Now, di antara tiga cause ni, apa yang kita boleh buat something? Mana yang kita boleh berubahkan dia? Yes, skin barrier, kita boleh letakkan something like moisturizer. Satu lagi apa yang kita boleh? Environmental factors, something kita boleh control. Contohnya, apa yang menyebabkan kita, environmental factors yang menyebabkan kita punya eczema lebih naik? House dust mite. Okay, katakanlah kita memang allergic kepada house dust mite. Nak buat macam mana? Rumah kita berabuk-abuk, memang anak kita selalu dapat eczema kalau dia allergic kepada house dust mite. So what can we do? Okay, first we can, kepaslah vacuum. Vacuum. Kalau you sapu sampah, you perasan kan, you sapu sampah, you akan nampak the dust goes up and goes down again. It's not really swept because dia punya dust is very small, halus, tak akan masuk dalam dia punya hidup. So vacuum, buy a good vacuum. Kalau boleh you beli HEPA filter, very tightly, dia punya filter ni very good, bila masuk tak keluar balik. Then you boleh mop, tak payahlah mop melekat all this pencuci. Actually I'm not supposed to say brands, but all this harmful antibacterial, tapi tak payah ya. Sometimes just simple water because you nak ambil dust saja. You wipe all the surfaces with clean water. So, importance of skin barrier. Memang eczema ni sebenarnya kalau you cakap tengok bukan apa susah sangat-sangat, tak. Kalau you maintain you punya skin barrier, kulit you selalu ada pelembab dan sentiasa moisturize, okay. Benda-benda yang dari luar macam chemical ke apa susah masuk dalam, dan kulit you dari dalam tak senang kering dan air tak senang keluar. That's why it's important. Skin barrier. Function of skin banyak je. Nanti kalau start dari cerita. Environmental factors tadi saya kata apa yang dari luar ni, pollen ke, kucing ke, anjing ke, dust mite. Tapi not necessarily you. Sebab saya ni very particular about cats kan, because saya ni I'm a rescuer. But kalau you tak allergic pada cat, not necessarily you boleh kena buang kucing you. So make sure you know that you are allergic to them or not. Okay. Kesian kucing, tak bersalah kena buang. So food allergen, hot water, soap. Soap nanti saya ceritakan balik apa sabun yang bagus untuk you pakai, and detergents, all been associated with atopic dermatitis. Alright. Environmental factors, tadi food allergy, tadi Dr. Amilah cakap, saya tak nak cerita lagi. Contact dermatitis, saya kata kalau you selalu pegang sabun, basuh sabun pinggan berpakai Ezion, you use all the harsh, tangan ni boleh dapat eczema. Allergic contact, fragrance, nickel. Okay, so saya nak tunjuk something about allergic contact. Ada benda yang you pakai, you dapat allergic kepada benda tu. Kalau tengok first jam tu, dia kat bawah tu merah-merah kan gatal. Just usually allergic kepada nickel. Tengok kalau you cincin, itu dekat perut dia tadi, kat perut tu, sebab dia punya button jeans tu ada nickel. Okay, dekat muka makcik tu, can you see? Keliling mata, around the eyes is red. What do you think? From the yes, from the makeup or from the nail varnish. Yes, saya selalu dapat. Dia beli, dia pakai yang pewarna, kita je. Selepas tu dia kan kata-kata kan, nanti lama-lama dia dapat eczema. So dia tengok dulu apa yang baru, benda baru pakai. Kadang-kadang doktor ni dia kena jadi detektif. Dia ada tak beli benda baru, dia selalu kacau-kacau ni tangan tu. Tengok ada pewarna dekat tangan dia. Kat kaki tu, the feet, what do you think is the cause? Shoes, sometimes the dye, colour. Yang black colour, you boleh dapat. Cantik je, nampak? Betul? So, apa you punya cara nak berhentikan eczema tu? Bagilah pewarna yang kasut tu. Kan? Okay, ayah. This one is very common now. Baru-baru ni, very bad. Dia kata inai. Tapi tak semestinya, sebab sometimes they put other colorant di sini. So ada patient yang datang kat saya, dia letak henna memang cantik. Lepas a few hours jadi blister, jadi berbelon air dan pecah. Sangat sakit. Sometimes it looks like burn. So be careful. Apa-apa barang you nak beli, saya bagi tip hari ni. Okay, you jangan try kalau you ada eczema, jangan suka try benda. Kalau you beli benda baru, kita panggil patch test at home lah, try kat kaki sikit. Janganlah kau terus dekat muka. Kan, tak lagi muka susah. Nanti orang tengok, kat kaki orang tak nampak kan. So you try there, so you put there, and then after 2 days, you tengok balik 3 days, 1 week, tak datang. Letaklah sikit kat sini pula. You try a bit. So just be gentle and careful. Kat tangan tu, okay, a lot of staffs datang dekat saya pasal dia pakai rubber latex gloves so ini pun kalau ada yang allergic pada kondom dan boleh pakai latex. So sometimes kalau you allergic kepada latex, you mesti tukar you punya glove. Those who are working in the health sector, maybe pakai nitrile glove kan, ataupun satu apa? The blue colour. Okay, nak cerita pasal dermatology, saya suka cerita pasal skin structure. So kalau kita tengok, kita potong kulit, okay, ini bukan tengok di atas lah, dia dah potong, dia tengok dalam mikroskop. Okay, so the uppermost structure is called stratum corneum. Stratum corneum ni kulit dia dah mati, tapi dia pack. Okay, dia macam kita ada satu tahanan kat situ. So apa-apa yang dari luar susah masuk, apa yang dari dalam susah keluar. So itu penting ya. Skin barrier tu dekat stratum corneum. You nampak atas sekali nama stratum corneum ni macam basket leaf. Alright. So this is the most important layer of barrier in your skin. Alamak, banyak sangat. Tak apa. Nak cakap just basically, kalau you tengok this diagram is busy kan, tapi dalam kulit kita pun dia ada minyak dia ada benda-benda yang menyebabkan kulit itu lembab. Seperti kalau you tengok natural moisturizer factor, ini adalah daripada filaggrin. Kalau filaggrin you defect, natural moisturizer factor you akan rendah. Satu lagi intercellular lamellar lipid tu, dalam tu ada mixture of ceramide, cholesterol and fatty acid, and all these are new things that coming up in your moisturizers. Okay, kalau you tengok nanti kenapa all these expensive moisturizers ada all these things, natural moisturizer factor, ceramide, cholesterol, free fatty acids. That's why you want to try and masukkan balik dalam kulit ini. Okay. So macam saya kata, allergen dari luar, kalau you ada defect, kulit you bila dah teruk, dah scratch, dah berpecah kat situ, bila terbuka, barang allergen, apa-apa dah semua senang masuk dan air yang di dalam senang keluar. Okay? Atopic dermatitis. So, macam saya kata tadi, kalau kulit you dah defective, lepas tu you scratch lagi, apa jadi? Benda tu lagilah pecah, lagilah dapat eczema. This is called itch scratch cycle. Sangat-sangat penting in atopic dermatitis is you stop scratching. Okay? Memang sangat gatal, tapi you sapu-sapu tangan you menegari. Pakai aku tak tahu lah. But you have to try your best. Okay? Because scratching will make it worse. Menggaru akan menyebabkan eczema tu lebih teruk. Okay? So kalau you itch, gatal, you scratch, tempat kulit tu dah damage ya. Lepas tu dalam kulit tu dia akan menjadi lebih radang. Dia keluar inflammatory chemicals yang menyebabkan lebih gatal dan dia akan jadi lebih teruk. You have to stop that cycle by stopping scratching. Untuk berhenti dari menggaru. Okay. Okay, tadi dah jawapan tadi semua okey, semua dah faham. So how to manage? So, sekarang second part, how to manage. So saya cerita tadi apa yang summary yang saya kata tadi, apa yang paling penting sekali untuk manage atopic dermatitis? First is moisturizer. Sebab kita nak tutup daripada ni apa bahan dari luar masuk dan dalam keluar. Lagi stop scratching. Lagi macam mana kita nak berhentikan semua-semua yang faktor-faktor yang boleh menyebabkan eczema kita teruk. Identify the trigger factors. Dan kita kena tahu apa yang menyebabkan eczema kita teruk. Okay? So this is a basic thing yang saya dah cerita. The goal of management. Maknanya goal kita bukan cure. Bukannya sembuh, tapi kita kena nak at least control the symptom. At least bolehlah turun sikit tu. Reduce flash. Dah turun tak maulah naik balik. Reduce flash or to improve quality of life. Apa-apa pun kita kena buat. Apa pun kita nak tidur yang bagus. Sometimes family or person come to me with atopic dermatitis. Saya mula tanya, dia punya eczema okey lah, not bad. Boleh tidur tak? Boleh. Good. Satu tick. Boleh pergi sekolah tak? Boleh. Okay, yes, good. Sometimes those things are most important. How you deal with eczema and then you can continue on with your life. Betul tak? And treatment is individualized. Bukan satu orang semua eczema sama dengan treatment. So sometimes dia cakap dengan dia ni pakai tak elok, patut I tak nak lah. Tak semestinya. I pakai mungkin okey, you pakai mungkin tak okey. Alright, individualized and tailored to the severity. So management strategy, first kali jumpa doktor, diagnose ini eczema ke tidak, and then the doctor will reassure, okay, ini eczema bukan cancer, okay. Alright, apa kan, explain. Eczema ni dia boleh berulang-ulang, tapi you kena buat macam ni, prognosis dia akan lama-lama sampai bila-bila pun you ada. Exclude, avoid contact irritants and sensitizers. Lifestyle modification maknanya apa you kena buat kamu? Beli vacuum, buang kapet, benda-benda macam tu. Emollients, rest. Sometimes eczema ni, itu eczema sometimes I have a lot of cases. Very bad eczema. Mak dia sama benda yang sama dekat rumah. Emollient sama, ni semua very good mother. Tapi duduk dalam hospital baik. Pasal apa? Sometimes dekat hospital they can rest. Tengok you balik rumah, mak dia nanti dengan anak dia ni and then rumah mungkin berhabuk ke apa. I don't know. Sometimes they come to hospital, they just rest and the mother also feel so relaxed, the eczema got better. But with the same treatment, sama the treatment je. So sometimes rest is very important. You need to reduce the stress and rest. Use of anti-inflammatory agent and sedative and treat underlying infection. Kalau ada infeksi, nanti eczema tu lagi teruk kan? Okay. Tadi saya kata individualized, maknanya depending on the stage. Eczema tadi you tengok macam-macam. Kadang-kadang berair, kadang-kadang kering, kadang-kadang tebal macam kulit gajah. Betul? So the treatment are different. Lain treatment dia. Betul? So kalau you bagi treatment untuk saya, mesti tak jalan. Katakan tempat tu muka tadi baby merah kan, berair. So what do you do? Merah, swelling, papis, viscous, dia ada berair, tekan melih keluar, kejap-kejap keluar, menitik lagi airnya. I know, I'm sure you have seen this before. This is acute eczema. So how do you manage this? You letak krim apa tak adut, it won't clear the eczema. You can, but it may take a longer time. The fastest way, yang paling cepat sekali nak buat ialah mengeringkan dia menggunakan air garam. Sodium chloride, bagi saya lah kalau boleh you beli 0.9% sodium chloride air sendiri dekat mana-mana farmasi. Kita sekarang you boleh beli RM10 dapat berapa, you yang orang cuci contact lens kan. You ambil mangkuk, baby letak dekat lab kan, ambil gauze, sabuk warna tawar apa yang tuala yang bersih. That many times a day. Banyak-banyak kali you akan tengok tempat tu cepat ke. Okay, kat muka pakai no. You pakai yang 0.9% sodium chloride, you bought yourself. Then we have to on the face, on the legs. Okay, there are other options you can try. Is potassium permanganate. Have you tried that? No. Okay, so maybe we can try. So potassium permanganate comes in crystal form. It's purple in color. Jadi balik rumah, dimasukkan air, dia akan very dark, very purple. So bila nak pakai, you kena dilute even further. Kena dilute apa? Cairkan lebih, masukkan dalam apa-apa lah, basin ke, just put water and a few drops and then very light pink. Macam Prof Lai punya color, very light pink. Just dab atau soak many times a day, and that area become dry faster. Okay, Tapi saya tak suka Cameron 4 masuk kat muka ya, sebab nanti masuk dalam mata sampai can become irritant. And please don't use strong because sometimes it can cause itchiness. Also Cameron 4 ya. Okey, tadi saya cakap acute eczema, sekarang cakap pasal chronic eczema. Bila kita cakap chronic itu maknanya tempat tu dah lama ada kat situ, you garu-garu jadi tebal. Sampai saya cakap itu jadi kulit gajah. Why? Because of, okay, kulit kita ni, our skin is very, very intelligent. Kalau you garu, okay, kononnya lah you ada wound, okay, you ada luka, kulit tu akan tutup ya. They have this way of closing it nicely, tutup cantik-cantik, nanti dia tutup, nanti dia berhenti sampai dia dah tutup. Kalau you hari-hari you garu, dia nak tutup, you garu lagi, dia nak tutup, garu lagi nak tutup, dia jadi apa? Dia jadi gulung. This is what happens. It's called lichenification. Dalam bahasa doktor lah, lichenification. And bila itu terjadi, first kali you kena buat ialah, apa kena buat sekarang? Berhenti menggaru. But it's very itchy kan? Then we have to talk about steroid. Sekejap ya. Tangan pun boleh tu crack kan, sebab dia terlalu kering sampai dia crack, pecah. Okey, janganlah pakai yang sabun-sabun yang kuat, yang banyak buih itu. Okey, sebab itu yang mengeringkan kulit. Buih itu, you tahu tak, dalam soap tu, they all have these surfactants macam SLS. And then you tengok baby soap semua ada low soap. Okay, ataupun you beli yang soap free cleanser. Memang tak ada SLS langsung, dia ada benda lain. Itu yang mahal. You tahu, you pernah dengar banyak-banyak brand. Contoh ya, saya ni tak suka bagi, tapi contoh dia ke ada tengah tinggi ke banyak ke sebanyak-banyak. Okay. Dan sekarang apa? Remedy pun ada kan? So we can try. Moisturize frequently. Paling penting. Kalau you sapu lotion, okay, kalau you tengok kat luar kan, saya nak bagi just, kalau you tengok nak beli pelembap kan, apa jenis pelembap kat luar? Ada krim, lotion, minyak ointment, lagi gel, macam-macam kan. Macam mana nak beli? Mana satu? Terus confused. Betul? Sometimes what you like is the best. You kena try dulu. Okay, macam kita nak beli shampoo, macam kita nak cari husband. Sometimes it depends on what you like. Faham? Kalau you tak suka, you kahwin pun tak minat. Betul? You have to find something that you like. So, management of chronic eczema. First thing is moisturize. Pelembap. Paling penting. Okay? So, mana satu? Which one? Soap substitute. Mana nak pakai mani apa? Yang mana satu? Which one? Topical steroid. Which one? Saya cerita mana-mana. So kalau you tengok cleanser, moisturizer, steroid banyak dekat pasaran. Yang paling mahal tu paling bagus ke? Is it most expensive? Not necessarily so. Okay, so try first and then see. Sometimes kalau you eczema, if your eczema is bad, you need to use moisturizer so many times a day. Banyak tu moisturizer, harga dia beratus-ratus ringgit. How many tubes you need in a day? You cannot afford it. I cannot afford it. I think millionaire maybe lah. Billionaire maybe. But you have to see also your ability to pay. Berapa banyak dalam poket you nak bayar benda-benda ni. Hospital also can give, but it's very basic because that's the cheapest that the government can buy. So you jangan salahkan government kenapa bagi benda yang sama, because that's the only thing we can buy. That's the cheapest, and most patients can, government can afford it, and patients mostly can tahan. Kalau tak tahan, you have to buy yourself. Okay. So general principle, use non-soap cleanser, apply moisturizer liberally, pakai banyak-banyak. Kalau malam you tak pergi kerja, malam tak berpeluh, you pakai banyak-banyak. Yang ointment form, kalau you boleh, and apply steroid only on eczematous area. Okay, nanti saya cerita pasal steroid ya. So cakap pasal cleanser, use non-soap or soap substitute. Kalau you dry, very dry sini kulit anak you sangat kering ya, you boleh buat apa? Cara senang sekali, you ambil baby oil ke? Tahu Johnson? Okay, baby oil. So bila last rinse, you ambil sikit oil, you put all over, tunggu sekejap, lepas tu bilas dengan air. Bila you keluar, lap dengan tuala, you have a little bit of oil layer. Ada sikit oil on your body. So cari cara yang paling cepat. But that also can be absorbed very fast. After that you come out, you still have to put moisturizer if it's still dry. Okay, creams or ointments or lotion. Technically ya, kalau pasal dermatology, when we talk about creams, that means kalau consistency yang cream tu you kena celik, you have to take out with your hands. Okay, kalau lotion you pour and it's like water. Kalau ointment it's very thick and oily. Okay, so how do you differentiate between all these three? So banyak jenis kan. So kalau kita cakap pasal what is best for you, I cannot say. Even I also I'm learning about moisturizer because I pun tak tahu a lot of things that is new technology kan. I pun kena try because I have to try and say, oh, this is nice, this is not nice, something like that lah. You kena try. Okay, so kalau kononnya you boleh pakai yang paling basic, okay, and cheap, of course go ahead. Contohnya, kalau terlalu dry, you pakai Vaseline 100% petroleum jelly, continue. Pakai je. Pakailah 10 kali, 20 kali, 1000 kali sehari pun. Okay, and until the skin is less dry or moisturized. So kalau you tengok pasal aqua cream dekat government kan, aqua cream dia ada 4 or 5 mixture of barang dalam tu. Wax paraffin, lepas tu what solvent, yellow paraffin, and then dia ada satu. Kalau dia cream form mesti ada preservative because bila dia campur barang dia mesti ada contamination ke apa kan, dia mesti letak preservative. So preservative kan sometimes ada yang orang tak boleh pakai, and also Aqua cream sometimes ada 1% SLS. Sebab tu Aqua cream you boleh pakai untuk mandi. Ada orang tanya dalam Malaysian Society Eczema Group, Aqua cream ni boleh pakai untuk mandi. Yes, dia meninggalkan minyak and also dia ada SLS sedikit soap dalam. Okay, use it as soap if your eczema is very bad. Bilas dengan air, keluar, pakai balik. Ya? Ada soalan? Yes. Lips. Very good. You can use Vaseline because kalau you letak cream cepat je because you lick your lips sama makan kan, letak Vaseline. 100% petroleum jelly. So this really is new technology. So with tocotrienol and rich cream. So I won't be talking about this because bukan hanya tepat kita cakap pasal nanti. So how to find a perfect moisturizer? Macam mana nak cakap yang perfect? Tak ada perfect lah kat dunia ni. Nak perfect you buat sendiri. Ada. So I sometimes for my ichthyosis patient, so I believe this because my family is ichthyosis. Also say sometimes they mandi pakai oatmeal, dia ambil tu oatmeal, dia grind oat tu yang tak ada gula ke apa kan, dia grind and letak sodium bicarb, dia rendam dalam. It's nice. Or you buatlah, you campur minyak zaitun ke, Vico apa, virgin coconut oil ke apa pun you suka. Tapi if you use any of the plant based, sometimes it boleh turn rancid, boleh smell a little bit off, and dia menyerap dengan lebih laju. Sometimes you nak pakai apa pun you tak kisah. Asalkan you, kalau you beli any moisturizer, try and find something that is no perfume, no colour, no preservative. Sometimes susah kan? So you nak try buat sendiri, campur-campur, sukalah. So banyak jenis moisturizer. So moisturizer yang dekat pasaran tu ialah campuran. Dia ada banyak target. Maknanya moisturizer yang ni buat untuk ni, moisturizer untuk buat ni. Okay, so there are 3 types of moisturizers yang kat pasaran. Satu yang prevent water evaporation, occlusive. Bila you sapu Vaseline apa jadi? Tempat tu terlalu sangat berminyak kan? But actually it's good because it prevents water from coming out. Okay, so tapi kat Malaysia ni kita nak ambil bayang, lepas tu minyak, lepas tu Satu lagi berpeluh kan, we go out, anak-anak kan, so tak berapa selesa nak pakai. So you can pakai, you can use it at night, okay, basically. You can use it on the lips. Number 2 is increase the integrity of skin's barrier. Okay, by adding skin barrier lipid component. Itu yang tadi saya cakap ni, macam apa? Ni ceramides, kolesterol. Okay, ni nanti saya tunjuk apa yang produk-produk yang ada lah. Increase the skin's ability to hold water, humectants. Ni dia menarik air dan menarik air kepada permukaan kulit. Okay, ni. So banyak new anti-inflammatory agent yang dimasukkan. Atopic, okay, ada produk-produk yang ada extra things yang boleh jadi anti-inflammatory. Okay, so they can be also good but very expensive. So kalau you buat berlembab yang biasa, yang mahal-mahal ni you buat once or twice a day. So you boleh different ways of moisturizing your skin. Okay. Bath and shower oils, banyak jenis. Macam saya kata tadi, bila you mandi, on your last ring, dipakai sedikit minyak, nanti keluar rinse. Anti-itch preparation. Kalau gatal sangat kan, sometimes very difficult masa you mandi tu, pakai sabun, lepas tu keluar sangat gatal, you boleh buat apa? Ada few tricks for dermatologists. You can try Pantaso. You pernah dengar apa? Pantaso, okay, bila mandi pakai tu. You boleh pakai antihistamine cream. Emla, ada my patient very bad, especially at scalp. Dia tak boleh berhenti mengaruh, garu kepala sampai tebal-tebal, sampai infected. So sometimes I put Emla. Emla is lignocaine. Kita letak Emla bila kita nak buat injection untuk baby, bagi tempat tak sakit. Sometimes it's in a small tube. Emla cream just put in there just to tahan the gatal. Calamine is not recommended. You tahu kan calamine lotion kan warna pink kan? Kenapa tak recommended by dermatologist? Because bila you sapu calamine, it becomes very cooling. It's nice. Okay, dia jadi cool, sejuk. But bila dia dah kering, dia evaporate, air dah tak ada, dia tinggal apa? Tersebuk kan? That can cause drying, even worsening your eczema. So we don't use calamine lotion. Normally for dermatologists we use for things like macam chicken pox ke, macam tu, yang budak yang tak ada eczema. Okay? Okay, any question? Do you find it too dry or you okay? Okay, good. Topical steroids, they say banyak propaganda ni pasal steroid. Semua tak nak pakai steroid. Saya pun susah. Sometimes bila masuk dalam ward, doktor saya tak nak pakai steroid. Okay, boleh. Saya letak moisturizer, saya letak apa pun yang added moisturizer semua. But I tell you, it will take longer. Okay. They say, kalau you tak percaya dermatologist, you nak percaya dengan siapa lagi? You percaya dengan internet, up to you. But I tell you, you need steroid at some part of your life bila dia teruk. Okay, banyak di propaganda. Okay, saya beritahu, before this, steroid ni because it do so well, bila come out with other alternative steroid. You pernah dengar pasal calcineurin inhibitor? Tacrolimus, imicrolimus, when they are promoting their product, they are talking about negative effects of steroids because they want to promote their product. Sometimes pharmaceutical company, sometimes they are a bit naughty. Bila cakap so, dia kata okay, steroid boleh menyebabkan eczema lebih teruk. Dia jadi bila pakai boleh dapat withdrawal, boleh dapat dependency, boleh dapat itu benda ni. But I tell you, you have to see a dermatologist because steroid comes in different strength. Okay, banyak potensi, maknanya ada yang kuat, ada yang tak kuat, ada yang lembut, ada yang... And then bila pakai steroid, kena perlu tahu dekat mana boleh pakai, yang tebal ke, yang nipis ke. So it is very important to see pakar, either pediatrician ke, dermatologist, dan yang tahu pasal benda tu, then you know you are safe to use steroid. Okay? So, I just want to say here, topical steroids are safe and effective method of treatment of flares of atopic dermatitis when used in short courses. Bila you nak pakai steroid tu, dekat bila dia flare, masa tengah merah saja. Bila tak merah, tak payah pakai lagi. Tapi mesti continue, you must continue the moisturizers. Okay, so we look at these pictures senang sebab kalau saya cerita sangat lama-lama boring. So you tengok dulu. Kalau dekat muka baby, you nak pakai steroid yang mana satu? Mesti yang paling lembut. Okay, now my question dekat bahagian badan kita, kulit kita, mana bahagian yang paling nipis? Mata, ya ke? Yes, okay. Jawapannya adalah memang sebenarnya kulit kita yang nipis. So, kalau boleh avoid, jangan pakai dekat situ. Mana kawasan kulit yang paling tebal? Tapak tangan dengan kasih. Kalau kita buat reaksi, memang kena cucuk tangan nak buat keluar kulitnya. It's very thick, sebab stratum corneum dia. And for children also, bila didahkan memang kulit dia lebih nipis. Stratum corneum dan stratum yang bawah dia pun memang nipis daripada adult. Okay, so kalau boleh pakai yang paling lembut untuk baby. Contoh yang paling lembut steroid ialah hydrocortisone. Okay, paling lembut. Okay, so next, dekat kaki ni kita nak pakai steroid apa? Ini paling tepat dah dekat kaki. You can use high potency steroid. High potency contoh betamethasone valerate. Okay, you pakai. Bila tempat tu dah baik, dah kurang, you step down. Jangan lalu pakai. Mana lama-lama kulit tu nipis dari tebal, nipis, nak pakai lagi. No, cannot. That's why you have to come and see doktor again. Boleh tak saya continue? Okay? And berhenti mengaruh So dekat perut itu psoriasis itu maybe moderate potency, yang tengah-tengah tak terlalu tebal, yang ini pun tebal sebenarnya. So steroid ni ada anti-inflammatory, maknanya keradaman tu dia boleh turunkan, and vasoconstrictive. Sometimes bila you pakai terutama steroid yang kuat sikit, sometimes dia ada blanching effect sebab ada blood vessel dia vasoconstrict. So tempat tu kalau you sapu, dia akan putih sikit. Safe use depends on keselamatan. Cara yang selamat untuk pakai adalah bila steroid itu dipakai pada potensi yang betul, maknanya kekuatan steroid yang betul, banyak mana pakai yang betul, duration berapa lama nak pakai steroid, age, budak ke, orang besar ke, and degree of inflammation. So for you doctors, you must know the strength of the steroid and how to use the steroid so that your patient will feel more confident in you. You jangan suka-suka semua baby pakai buat fusikot. Saya tahu benda tu. Lepas tu bila baby tu dapat masalah, the mother will say, oh saya tak nak pakai steroid langsung. Because it depends on you as a doctor to know when to use steroid correctly. Faham? So my tip as a dermatologist, choose the lowest potency. Apa yang perlu cukup-cukup saja pakai itulah steroid that can produce adequate response. Ointments are more potent than creams. Maknanya kalau betamethasone tu in ointment form, kadang-kadang hydrocortisone kan ada minyak kan, hydrocortisone ointment, ada hydrocortisone cream. Hydrocortisone ointment lebih potent sebab dia tahan lama, dia absorbs better. Okay. The other thing is, kalau you occlude, maknanya you dah pakai baju, lepas tu you tutup kawasan tu, it will become more potent. Okay, so kalau you pakai strong steroid, you jangan tutup if not that area becomes thin. Now when it becomes thin, apa masalah steroid ni? Okay, saya nak tanya. Apa side effect of steroid? Thinning of the skin. Yes. So kalau kulit tu dah thin, apa jadi? What will happen? Saya pernah tengok dia pakai banyak dekat pasal sini. Eczema dia teruk, dia pakai Demovate, very strong steroid. After a while, that area becomes so thin, dia scratch dia terus berdarah. It is irreversible. Tidak boleh pergi balik ke normal self. I don't know why. Okay, but it is irreversible. Kalau kat muka, scratch dia nampak dah. Dia punya blood vessel dah nampak dah. Because it's so thin until you can see the dermis, that means the lower part of the skin. You can see the blood vessel is so thin. Okay, macam orang tua kan. You tengok dalam internet ada semua all this potensi ya. So saya cerita balik side effects of steroid. Skin thinning, okay? Kulit tu menjadi thin, hypertrichosis, rambutnya tumbuh, striate, that means macam orang hamil kan dia dapat striate. Telanjectasia, you nampak all the blood vessels, and then easy bruising, senang bruise is what? Lebam. Infection, kalau you pakai untuk fungal, tadi saya tunjuk fungal kan macam tu ada active border, you pakai steroid kat situ, of course you will get better. Okay? Because steroid ada masking effect. That means bila you pakai dia reduce inflammation, but then bila you stop dia naik dengan lebih kuat. Okay? Because the infection is still there, you just masking it. Folliculitis ada banyak yang lain. Steroid potency. So, bila dipakai, you kena tahu what kind of steroid. Okay, is it very potent or mild? So, which steroid potency tadi saya cakap? Oh, sorry. For babies, mild. Tapi, how do you manage this baby? Kalau you look at the baby's face carefully, how do you manage it? Macam mana you buat first? You letak steroid dulu ke? No. What do you do? Dry it first. Kan nampak macam berair kan? It's very great. You know, kalau you touch, you put your finger there, it will be a little bit wet. Okay? Now, steroid phobia can lead to poor control. Atopic dermatitis banyak dalam internet ni. Ada kumpulan eczema yang lain yang tidak mahu pakai steroid. So, saya tak boleh kata apa-apa because it's up to you kan? But kalau you tak pakai steroid, memang kadang-kadang susah nak control the atopic eczema, tapi kita ada option. Okay, so option kita ialah calcineurin inhibitor. Calcineurin inhibitor ni contoh tacrolimus and pimecrolimus. Siapa pernah guna? Okay. So you know it's very expensive. Okay, the molecule is big, so sometimes the potency kalau you nak pakai pun maybe moderate potency, but if you occlude, it becomes high potency. So, and the thing is, okay, memang tak ada side effect. Skin thinning tak ada, semua tak ada, but number one is expensive. Okay. Number two, bila you pakai, there is a stinging sensation. Dia macam ada burning sensation. Kalau you tengok dalam journal, pimecrolimus claim that their stinging sensation is less than tacrolimus, but I'm not so sure because there's no head to. I don't know because it's very branding punya research. Okay, the company yang buat research tu sendiri, so kita kadang-kadang susah nak percaya. So bila pakai muka, kadang-kadang baby kadang-kadang nangis sikit. Sebab the first few days sometimes it can burn for a little bit longer, maybe 30 minutes sampai 1 hour, 1 hour. Ada adult yang boleh bercakap because baby susah kita nak tanya dia. Kita bagi dekat adult, dia akan rasa stinging for maybe 30 minutes, 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Okay, but then the effect is maybe as good as 1% potency or the moderate potency kalau you tak occlude it. Faham? Okay, so anybody who wants a prototype, yes, go ahead. What age can you use? Actually, it is only recommended for above 2 years old. Dulu ada black box warning. You tahu kan black box warning? Kalau tak tahu, saya tak payah cerita. But dulu ada kata mengatakan boleh menunjukkan risiko untuk dapat lymphoma, internal cancer. Tapi sebenarnya bila lepas dia buat banyak research, tak ada, no such thing. And okay. There's so many things to talk. Okay. So, right. Okay, you all pernah pakai tak to be fast? Pernah tak? Ada tak? Siapa pernah pakai? Oh, I love to be fast. No. Okay, so this is very nice. It's like it's like stocking. Okay. So kalau baby children, dia tak boleh nak berhenti menggaru. Kita cakap pun dia nak akan menggaru juga. So you kena pakai pelembab and pakaikan stocking. Okay, stocking tu is big tight, dia tak payah garu. Kalau digaru tu kuku dia tak kena straight to the skin. Okay, and then it will retain the moisturizer, and then it will cool the skin. So it's nice. So because we datang in different forms of different sizes untuk children, babies, adults, semua ada size. Kalau kononnya topical, moisturizer, steroid semua tak jalan, okay, ada cara-cara lain. That one when you have to come to dermatologist lah, maybe. So maybe you can try steroid sparing agent. Sometimes acute flare kita bagi oral prednisolone lah. So kalau tak jalan, kita ada other things lah you can try. Cyclosporine, azathioprine. So orang tanya saya makan ubat antihistamin tapi masih gatal. Why? Ubat antihistamin ni actually, antihistamin kalau you fikir, it only counteract histamine. Okay, but each pathway has many mediators, maknanya dia benda-benda lain yang boleh menyebabkan gatal, bukan histamin saja. So kalau you makan antihistamin, dia tidak akan 100%. But in atopic dermatitis, atopic eczema, for dermatologists we like to use the sedative one. Compared to the urticaria, itu gatal, pakai the non-sedative one. So antihistamin ni dia ada selectively kita pakai untuk apa. But for atopic eczema kita pakai yang sedative one, you sleep, so you sleep well. But just to let you know, yang sedative one macam Piriton, kita tahu kan Piriton, chlorpheniramine, Atarax sangat mengantuk. Each effect is only short time only. But the sleepy, the sedative effect can last for 12 hours. So be careful. Because sometimes if you give, say for example to children at 10 PM, sometimes it can become very drowsy until 10 o'clock in the morning. And when the children goes to school, they will miss school. They tak faham, tak mengantuk. So sometimes just be careful. You nak bagi maybe weekend couple or bila dia teruk, so that the children can sleep better. But to say that the sleep is not a good sleep because dia tak ada REM sleep, dia tak ada. It's very poor REM sleep. Kalau you faham what is REM, So topical antibiotik tak berapa good, but kalau you garu tempat tu dan kering, you boleh letak sikit fistic acid ke. Now you know is atopic dermatitis ada 90% ada colonization with Streptococcus aureus. So sometimes we ada cara lain untuk menurunkan colonization of bacteria. So bakteria ni banyak, dia buka hidung lah, ke ketiak lah, but then it doesn't cause infection. But bila you garu, bakteria tu masuk dekat that area. So sometimes we use other things lah, like bleach bath. You pernah dengar bleach bath tak? Siapa pernah dengar? Clorox, mandi dengan Clorox. Mandi Clorox ni is not new . So sometimes in the hospital so we do that, maybe twice a week. So very small, half a cup. Kalau ada bath bagus lah, kita masukkan dalam bath air, lepas tu you rendam sekejap. Buat twice a week, ataupun you mandi sikit dalam baldi kan, air penuh sikit je Clorox, you mandikan dengan air Clorox tu. Lepas tu kena letak pelembab. Actually I bring the Clorox every day, but for other reasons.
Patient yang memang dah terbuka, menggaru kan, so dia terbuka, so
yes, that's the thing. Sometimes it can cause the wound to close slower. But then this is macam kita prevention daripada dapat infection. Prevention. Kalau dia dah teruk, you janganlah takut you dapat aggravation, teruk tak you punya eczema tu. Ada lain satu lagi ialah mupirocin. You all pernah dengar tak how to reduce colonization of Streptococcus? This for GP doktor. You boleh pakai mupirocin ointment 3 times a day for 5 days to 1 week. On your nasal, your nose, axilla and genital area 3 times a day for 1 week to reduce colonization. Systemic antibiotic kalau ada visible macam dia dapat impetigo ke kan, muka ke semua, kena bagi oral antibiotik lah. Food allergy saya tak mau cerita sebab tadi Dr. Ami dah cerita prebiotic. Okay. So I think complication, you tahu kan, bacteria, viral, sleep disturbance. Okay, thank you so much. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kartini, for giving us an insight on current treatments. I think it was a bit of an eye-opener, bukan saja untuk GP saja, tapi kepada non-GP, yang patients dan eczema sufferers. Sekarang sebenarnya kita dah melebihi masa. We have food served down here, but are there any specific questions that Ada soalan that we can handle today? That I think some of you datang sini memang sengaja nak bertanya. Sebenarnya we have answered more than than what is needed. Tapi kalau ada specific questions, maybe I can take 3 questions. 3 soalan. Ya. Silakan. Can we get a microphone up to testing? Silakan.
Macam, hi, my name is Mira.
Mira, yes, Mira.
Yeah, okay, so basically, right, okay, so if let's say, macam saya ada atopic eczema sendiri. So, right now dah 20 years, so is it because of the atopic tu dah immune dalam badan and dia tak boleh cure ke atau macam mana? Dah more than 20 years.
Data untuk betul alergi dah ada dan atopic.
Ya.
Ada family history yang you ada dah buat test.
Dah.
Dan apa yang alerginya?
Asthma.
Asthma.
Dengan food allergy lagi lah.
Still food allergy dah tested. How often ni you test untuk food allergy tu? Sekali je. And then how long ago? Dah lama dah?
Actually last saya baru dapat proper treatment which is last awal tahun. Sebelum tu waktu saya form 2. Lepas saya form 3 saya dah tak tak consult to doctor. Yeah, so all of the like macam what is it? Lotion semua tu is based on the pharmacy.
Alright.
Yeah, lepas tu I macam rasa macam I need to get a proper treatment. So bila umur saya 20 baru saya pergi HKL lah untuk consult. So is that mean that during that duration, and sebab selalunya saya tengok orang yang ada eczema is like 5 years, 6 years, ataupun selalunya paling tinggi pun 10 years, lepas tu dah okay. But then right now is I'm 21. Is it because of the atopic tu dah immune dalam badan dan tak boleh cure langsung lah macam mana?
Yeah, I think concept about once you dah ada allergy, my take on it is always that you don't really get rid of the allergy. Allergy doesn't go away. Or rather the sensitization tu yang kita nak tahu how long ago so that we can review balik. Because it evolves. Kalau makanan, insyaAllah dia boleh outgrow most of the time. But the problem as I mentioned, dia punya chances of outgrowing tu becomes more prolonged now. So walaupun kalau kita tengok the natural history for that, jadi kita kata most of them yang as a pediatrician has said yes, by 5-6 years old, insyaAllah, about 60%. We give some numbers, but we can never really tepat dengan secepat-cepatnya. But I usually say dalam 80% after childhood, insyaAllah dah okay. But that still carries on 20% into adulthood, that means more teenager, and then probably another 5%. And I think that's the, once you dah go into that, and then kalau you ada, usually, I'm talking about eczema yang related to allergy, not the non-atopic, that one you can handle. Because yang selagi kita tahu ada sensitization, so the potential for the eczema is still going to be contributed. And then kalau contribution tu by kalau orang kata hama, dust mites, then it's going to be more persistent sebenarnya. And if you are not going to get rid of the eczema into adulthood, I think the data from the allergy punya perspective is going to be probably even lifelong. Right? I don't want to be pessimistic katakan itu, but these are based on data saja and general data. We have to look at your individual, and I would want to accept balik the allergies and allergens.
Saya rasa pun macam kita kata benda ni kan banyak sebab yang boleh jadi trigger factor kan. Dia naik tu bila kita stress dia naik. So sometimes you tahu bila nak naik tu, you letak banyak pelembab, you take care of your trigger factor, you kurangkan stress, macam tu boleh. Ya, and then moisturizer apa yang you suka pakai, mungkin tak cukup pakai pelembab. Is that? Every 5 minutes? Wow, that's very good. Maybe you have to try other types of moisturizer. Sometimes, saya pernah dapat macam ni. Patient very well with more moisturizer. Until one time, dia pakai moisturizer tak jalan. So sometimes we switch moisturizer. Switch moisturizer, try different things. And then it works. Yes. So just be patient. InsyaAllah boleh. Boleh. You something have to just be.
Okay, second
Sabar,
question.
patient.
Soalan nombor 2. Anyone else? Yeah, siapa?
Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. A very good afternoon. My name is Serena from Terengganu. I really apologize for my kid being there. Saya asthma since I was around 8 to 9 years old, and then recently masa saya umur 30-31 macam tu dah tak ada langsung. Compared to my mother, she had it when she was a teenager, and sampai umur 60 lebih baru it stopped. Jadi doctors ada some idea why this happened. So tadi doktor punya graph tu tunjuk that the children they akan stop it after 15 years like that. So what causes extended punya symptom tu thank you.
Itulah yang saya nak tahu juga. Because I think it's a very good question. Soalan yang sangat bagus, and I think that's what kita nak tahu what the answer and trying to do the research. Because I think as an allergist punya viewpoint, we say that the way the environment has changed. Okay, the way the environment has changed, and the way the environment has changed means your immune programming will be affected. So kalau katakan, and when you do immune programming ni, if you do it for you yourself, nothing going to work anymore. Especially kalau once you are older and way into adulthood. If you are still in the children, you might not also have masalah kemungkinan untuk nak outgrow tu pun kurang. Tapi at least for your children, the next generation, it be good. So that's why for the next generation, that's what the research sekarang banyak. This is what we have a lot of research now going on to do what we call the origins of health and disease. Right? So that immune programming too is what we affected by environment pollution. We think that the pollution, that means the air that we breathe and the food that we eat has already affected the immune programming. So it is interesting. Kalau saya katakan if puan punya anak has been delivered by cesarean section, then the higher chance that going to get the eczema, because the vaginal delivery switches the immune system. You see, when you're pregnant, your immune system has to change so that it won't tak reject the baby, because half of it is from the dad. So the other half is yours, it won't reject. So there has to be something yang akan switch the gene so that the tumor and pregnancy carries on. Right? So tumor. But at the minute at time of delivery, dia kena switch balik. Sebab if you don't switch, then you're more likely to get allergy. So umur hidup maybe, or at least for a certain period of time. That's why siapa yang delivered by cesarean section, this all based on studies. And then kebetulan satu lah buat deliver masa height of summer dengan hay fever, pollen. That kid is more likely to have allergy. So all these factors, banyak sangat daripada faktor. Kalau saya nak cerita, memang kita sampai besok pagi pun boleh. Saya tak kisah. No problem. Mencecing nombor satu lah. Kadang-kadang ikut je lah. Kadang-kadang my patient kan sebab dia suka saya bercerita mencecing dekat klinik tu. But it's all education. Sebab saya nak beritahu. Sebab they will ask the same question you ask. And then kalau you ask me that thing, then I will give probabilities. So for your now answer your question why, it varies. So that's where the genetics also come in. It's very important. If we had a marker and one test that tests the genes and apa semua, dah boleh predict, then it changes. But we talk about genetics, we talk about epigenetics. Pernah dengar tak epigenetics? E-P-I. You put in front of the word genetic. So kita semua dah ada our genes. That genes will never change for life. You dapat that set of gene, XYZ, XYZ lah. Tapi the expression of the XYZ can vary with time, can vary with your environment, the pollution, the food you eat. All those will change. So that's why you see a generation, you pergi migrate, the next generation dah tak ada apa-apa dah. Because if you go to, let's say, Switzerland, because you got dust mite allergy and it goes to that the previous lady juga, it's the same thing. Your next generation dah immune program, you'll be fine. You had suffered, you get better, but your next generation will be even better. So that's what we call epigenetics. So if I were to say anything that why it carries on and is variable, itulah sebabnya. The epigenetics. And that is a very current research topic now. So walau that's one of those things lah. Yang kita can keep on asking. It's a good question. Thank you.
Okay. Last question, please. Yeah. Yes, please. Silakan. Dah on dah.
Assalamualaikum. Saya Dr. Sarah dari Hospital Banting. I have no eczema, but I come here because of my patient have lots of skin problem in Banting. When we see Dr. Katni, when we see patient like come with complication with steroids, macam bluish, bruise, the new vessels develop kan, macam mana kita nak reduce that? Macam letak more, one more thing, kita kat government kita ada aquascape je. Kita tak ada yang lagi superior than that, yang lebih gentle than that. Kita apa yang saya perlu the best suggestion lah, I think. Okay, macam saya kata tadi, side effects of steroid yang banyak ni irreversible. Okay, so memang kalau you dah pakai kat situ, tempat tu ada striae and atrophy, memang susah nak buat apa-apa. So what you can do is to preserve whatever is there. So stop steroid there first. Okay, number two, you have to wear loose clothing and sometimes you have to wear a stocking to prevent that from tan. Saya pernah jumpa patient young but very thin skin because dia pakai very strong steroid like Demovate. You tahu Demovate? Clobetasone, propionate. Do not use it for long time. Just short and then short period and then you cut down. So your next question is, so memang tak not reversible. So that's what I'm saying. Memang you kena tahu as a doctor, you must know the potency and when to use the steroid correctly. Alright, so that's the first question. Second question is, kalau pakai Equus cream, okay, kalau you ada Equus cream je, you have to just use. Equus cream, kita ada Equus cream, kita ada Vaseline, actually kita ada emulsificant. Sometimes your hospital also, kalau lotion memang out lah untuk atopic eczema. So I think these three can be used. The other thing is liquid paraffin. You know, liquid paraffin is used for constipation. You can also use it for as an emollient, but it also like Vaseline, but you apply easier, but it is absorbed faster. So those are the options, other options you can use other than Equus cream. So if you're not sure whether you can use Equus cream or not in a patient, as I said, do a test first and see if there's any irritant. Then if okay, then you continue using as a soap or moisturizer and use it many times a day, as many as you can. So that's why dekat klinik kesihatan saya tengok sometimes you give only 30 gram, which is not enough for atopic eczema. Betul. Saya tengok kan memang kesian. Pakai satu hari, setengah hari pun tak cukup. So you give the patient and you tell the patient, please buy it if it's okay with you. Because in the pharmacy, it's only 20 ringgit. Buy the 500 gram outside. Kalau tak boleh, try lah different things. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. On the last note, I would like to invite Yang Berusaha Dr. Samtilah Oslan, Director of Putra Science Park UBM. She is a wonderful catalyst behind whatever it is that we do. She sits there quietly and behind the scenes for helping out all the time. So, ladies and gentlemen, please come, Dr. Santa. On behalf of Malaysia Eczema Support Group, we would like to give a token of our appreciation to Dr. Ahmed Hamzah and Dr. Kartini for coming here. ladies and gentlemen, we have just finished our first Meet the Experts Forum. Now we'd like to invite you downstairs to level 1. There's some refreshments for us all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.